Yes, indeed. 39 days until the start of training camp. Big Sil's here, and as we always start the show off, Big Sil's! Welcome aboard, everyone. I got to take this time right now to thank you guys. By the way, I got to show you this headline here that shows you now what's going around the media circles and how big Xander Krause is now getting from Birds 365. So this is a headline all based here on this program. Eagles not happy with Dan Sileo? Xander confirms. Who the fuck is Xander? Who the fuck is Xander? Who's Xander? Holy cow, now he's a big superstar. The Eagles not happy with Dan Sileo. Gee, I wonder why. Because here on this program, we speak truth, justice in the Big Sil's way. How about Xander getting love? Who the fuck is Xander Krause? Holy shit. Xander confirms. Like, who's that? Who in the world is that? Hey, that's a testament to you guys, man. Got to tell you, man. Congratulations to you. You really are, man. You're moving the room. You're moving the room. No matter how many people watch, the Eagles watch. Remember that. Nobody watches other shows. They watch this show. Xander confirmed that. Now he's getting headlines. Now he's getting headlines. Yeah, you are flexing. Hey, and by the way, you know what's crazy? Is that all you guys here, you should take a bow too. Even the ones that go after Big Sills each and every single day. Hey, that's what you do, huh, flexing? Yeah, listen, man. Absolutely awesome. Absolutely fantastic. We appreciate you guys being here. No question about it. We are, as I said, 39 days out to the start of training camp, 86 days out to the start of the NFL season. Hey, Sills is jealous of Xander? I don't know. The guy's on the air 2 months, and all of a sudden they're like, Xander Krause confirms. Who's that? Who is that? Are the Eagles upset with Dan Sileo? This just in. It's been a little bit longer than just a couple months that they've been upset with Dan Sileo. That's right, CJ. Thank you guys so much. Hit your like button. That's what I'm going to start dubbing it. Hit your like button. Trying to get to 200 each and every single day, and we so appreciate it. Okay, we're not taking our foot off the neck. There you go. Hey, flexing. You shouldn't, man. You should be expecting excellence. Yes, Sills, you need to take that Xander guy out. Why? We took Big Bill out. You know what we did? We delegated Big Bill to an inferior platform. Where's Big Bill? Couldn't hang. It's okay. You know, Xander likes him. Puts him on. You notice he never came on this program because we like stars in our program. I'm kidding. Yeah. I'm kidding. Thank you. Seals be speaking facts. Absolutely. You know, I want to start the program out by talking about leadership first. You think it's a big deal that Aaron Rodgers is not at the Jets minicamp? It's a new day in Philly sports media. We're changing the narrative here. Absolutely, my friend. Hey, flexing, before I get going here, you know why you guys are changing it? Think about something, flexing. You get people. And from now on, we're only going to really address the people that talk sports here. I'm not going anywhere else any longer. But do you know that you guys attract so many different types of haters that their entire life is based on coming here for 4 hours a day? And out of their if I wasn't going to talk sports, I wouldn't be wasting my life or 4 hours of my life just to get noticed. I wouldn't do it. I'm not built like that. I don't really care. That's not that important to me. But I do like talking sports with knowledgeable sports people. And that's what we do here. Well, the majority of the time. Okay? Some of these people are serial stalkers. And that's the one thing that's pretty cool about it. Because you know why? Like some of these guys that come in here, hey, I get credit for those guys posting. So every time C24 posts something, it doesn't really matter what he says. It's just that he's posting and he's engaging. And I get credit for that. So thank you. Keep posting away. Keep sending your dildos or whatever those things you post. It's okay. Thank you. And now we continue with normally scheduled broadcasting. No one likes us. We don't care. Slagger, I love that. Seals thinks the show is bigger than ever. No, I don't. I just know your Eagles watch the damn show and are worried what I say every day. I never said that. I never said the show is the top-rated show anywhere. I said your Eagles watch. That's a fact. If you'd listen, maybe you'd understand the show a little more. Okay? I never said that. All I know is that your Philadelphia Eagle PR department and general manager and owner get upset with what I say. How you doing? Okay. Daniel, what's up, Big Seals? Love the show. Thank you, man. Thanks for keeping it real. Thank you. Thank you. They hate us because they ain't us. Eduardo, man, I do dig that. I think that Seals is the only one who us Eagle fans will allow to talk crap on the Eagles, which is, I think is true, but if anyone else does it, Sills finds himself defending. It's true, CJ. And hey, listen, CJ, I don't mind talking shit on the Eagles, but when somebody else, I'm with you, CJ, I start getting a little offended for you. I surely do, don't I? I don't know, man. I feel like going into the foxhole with you. I go into the foxhole with you. Sills more on the conspiracy theory side of the Eagle news. So, your whole organization is built on conspiracy theories. Okay? Right? All right, here we go. Again, let me say something about Aaron Rodgers not being there. That's why Aaron Rodgers has never beat Tom Brady. He's not committed 100%. He's not all in. He's all in on the Aaron Rodgers way of doing things. Football teams aren't built on the way you're doing things. Football teams are built on being the best teammate you can. Remember what Brady said a couple weeks ago when he said about what made him a great player for 20 years? You know what he said? He said, hey, it was about being the greatest teammate I could possibly be. That's why I played 20 years. And I think that's why that guy won, is because he was the greatest teammate. Aaron Rodgers talks out of both sides of his mouth. Last year during the fall, he was telling everybody to get the noise out of the locker room, or all shit doesn't matter on winning football games. And now he's taking mandatory minicamps. Is there a guy that doesn't need mandatory minicamp, guy going into his 20th year? No. But again, it's about being a good teammate. You have to do shit you don't want to do. It's about being good. Hey, being a good captain or being a good leader, at the end of the day, a lot of guys don't want that job. I would never want to be captain of a football team because that means I got to care about other shit, and I don't want to do that. I don't. I want to be a good teammate, but I don't want to give a shit about somebody and what they're saying or what they're feeling or what they're doing because I personally don't give a fuck. I don't care your personal life when we go into the locker room. I care about winning ball games. That's it. That's all you should care about. I care about my family. I care about our work that you and I do here each and every single day. Okay? Personally, I think it's more important that Hassan Reddick is at the Jets mandatory minicamp. I think it's more important he's there. Guys looking for a brand new contract. This is going to be your last deal. People in Philadelphia got tired of your bullshit. And you know what happened? They dealt you for nothing, really. They said, well, we hope that he plays 67% and gets 10-plus snaps. Okay? And they're hoping to get a 2 out of it. Okay? Okay. So, just so you know, I want to say something also before we continue about the passing of Jerry West. No question, one of the greatest sports icons in the history of American sports. An Olympian, gold medalist, one of the handful of great players in the history of the NBA, and then turned out to be one of the greatest executives in team sport history. Built those Laker dynasty Showtime teams, turned around and built another dynasty with the Kobe and Shaq Lakers, helped build another dynasty up in Golden State with Steph Curry and them guys. And he was been a consultant for the Los Angeles Clippers for Steve Ballmer over the last 6 years. There's nobody outside of maybe Pat Riley. And Riley wasn't a great player. Riley was a role player who turned out to be one of the greatest executives of all time. There's no doubt Pat Riley's in that conversation. Riley should be running the Lakers. It's a damn shame they couldn't come to arms and get together and have that dynamic, but they couldn't make it happen. And yes, West is the logo. I mean, there is no doubt about it. You're the logo of the NBA. People all over the United States. I've had a chance to interview him numerous times on my radio show. Just an absolutely prince of a guy. Kind of a little bit of an eccentric dude, but he will be surely missed. And the NBA has lost in the last week Bill Walton and Jerry West. And Jerry West was truly an iconic figure. Make no mistake about that. All right. Oh, by the way, Mark Holmes, and we're hoping Philly 500 at 3:30. Xander will kind of move down in the rotation to 4:30. So we will do that. That will be set up for you here today, here on the National Football Show. Okay. How many people? I want to go back and visit a topic, and I want to hammer this point across here a little bit. How long do you believe it is going to take Kellen Moore, Jalen Hurts, and Nick Sirianni to get the offense up to speed? How quick? How many games? Do you think it's going to take? Six weeks. 4 games. 10 games. 5 games. Week 8, realistically, says Bob. 4 games. Why are you guys coming up with this? Why are these numbers so low? You had 17 games last year and you didn't get up to speed. You never got up to speed last year. How come? Now you're saying 4 games? Let's do this. I think this football team is going to get out to a slow start offensively. You're already out to a slow start in camp. Quarterback's already complaining and kind of making excuses for what they're installing now. Not sure if I like it. Everything's brand new. 95%. Okay, well, that's a great comment. So helmets and shorts and you're not up to speed. Full gear last year, you never got up to speed because it was a new offense. And this offense is going to be better than last year's offense, even though you were 8th. Right? Last year, you never got the thing rolling. You never played your best ball over 17 weeks. Is that true? And you still won 11 games because of the talent you had on the team. Well, here, I'm talking realistically here. Let's talk realistically. Nick Sirianni, Shane Steichen, Shane Steichen, Brian Johnson, and now Kellen Moore. Xander said something interesting yesterday. You know what he said? Jesus Christ, the guy's been in the building like since January, and they don't know what they're doing already? It's pretty telling. So since 2021, right? And you're now going into 2024, correct? That's 3 years you've had 4 coordinators. 4 different offenses for a quarterback. Not making an excuse. I'm talking about 4 different, not really 4 different systems, but 4 different ways of calling a football game. I say you've never really come out on fire. 2021, you limped out of the gate. Brian Johnson, you kind of wobbled out of the gate. And Kellen Moore, we'll see. Now we're talking here where guys are complaining about the stagnant install that they're having in the OTAs and also in minicamp. And you're not concerned with so many different ways of throwing the football. Okay? They need to feed Barkley even more than they did Sanders. I would say this. That's a good way of looking at it. Hey, to me, you want to get out to a fast start, run the ball, not throw the ball. Don't throw the ball coming out of the gate. It'll be turnovers, and you'll get out of the gate even slower. You run the ball out of the gate, and then you let that offensive passing game catch up. The passing game is behind right now. You're 39 days to camp. You are 39 days until camp. Okay? 39 days. You better have this shit down. Talking like Jalen, a rookie. Jesus. Well, I mean, what do you mean talking like Jalen's a rookie? Those are his words. So you're saying Jalen's talking like a rookie? I don't know if I like it. The offense is brand new. We're doing a lot of new things. Those were his words, not mine. Remember, Sills, when Shane was the play caller, the offense was on fire once Nick started calling play shit, hit the fan. That's because it was RPO, though. That's a completely different offense. The Shane Steichen offense will never be seen again in Philadelphia. You will never see that offense. That offense will never be implemented or installed in Philadelphia ever again. So don't say you're going to start installing 22. You're not. That offense is gone. It's lost. That is completely lost. Shane understood that Jalen is an RPO running quarterback. Yes, Charlie. That's why he sees the same thing in Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson, he could have had numerous guys a year ago or 2 years ago when he took Anthony Richardson. He went with Richardson because he likes that skill set mentality. Now let's see here. He's going to struggle, but they'll figure it out how to be functional within his skill set by the 6th game. I think you guys are crazy if you think they're going to get out of the gate quick. Dan, I think that's true. They blew $50 million. No, Charlie, what they did was they overcooked it and overmanaged it like they did with Wentz. They needed to just stick to what they were doing great and then work off of that and develop the 22 Hurts. If you develop the 22 Hurts, he's going to do more than even Lamar Jackson. But they're doing it the right way in Baltimore. Hey, they went and got him Derrick Henry. Great. But that doesn't mean that Lamar Jackson's going to stop running as much. Okay? I believe they will beat Green Bay. I do not believe they're going to beat Green Bay. I don't see. Everyone always looks at the offensive side and goes, well, the Eagles have a better roster than Green Bay. No, they don't. You don't match up with them defensively on that side of the football. They've got some of the top guys, especially in the secondary, that have been ranked in the National Football League. You got a better linebacking core. They're better up front or more experienced up front, and they got better depth on defense on that side of the ball. That's like saying that the Eagles have better personnel than Kansas City. Kansas City has a better 53-man roster. This is not about the best 22. No one's debating that they're one of the top 3 teams in the league with their offensive side of the ball. But that comes down to potential on the other side of the ball. You have nothing that is a sure thing on defense. All of it is potential. Malata is a sure thing. Landon Dickerson's a sure thing. I'm starting to get into the room where I think Cam Jerkins is going to be a sure thing. AJ and Devontae are sure things. You got numerous players on your offense that I don't have to worry about talent. It's putting them in the right positions to succeed. When you're on that defense, every single guy on the Philadelphia Eagles secondary has question marks. Every guy, including your starting corners, including your safeties. Every backer has a question mark. Your backups in your front 4 have, or 3, have question marks. Again, I'm looking at the teams right now on June 12th that have the complete rosters. Kansas City, do they have the star talent that the Eagles have offensively? Absolutely not. But are they a better 53? Yes, they prove it every year. They prove that every year. Every year they prove it. 4 Super Bowl appearances, 3 Super Bowl wins in the last 5 years. Nobody's better. Oh, no, nobody is above that KC roster. If we get past Green Bay, our schedule isn't bad at all. And with early bye week in the 5th week, he's saying, not bad. The O-line is going to seamlessly carry on without Kelsey. Lane Johnson depends too heavily on Kelsey's snap timing. He's going to get hammered for that illegal procedure. You know what, dude? I hadn't thought that. That's a great call. That the right tackle gets that jump because of the way Kelsey snaps the ball. It's a great observation on something to keep an eyeball on. I wrote this down too. I wrote this down here. Let me ask you something. With the addition of Barkley, with Saquon Barkley, okay? Who has the best duo, quarterback, running back in the league right now? I agree with you, RTF. I say you run heavy early. If you want an undefeated record in the first month of the season in September, I say you run the ball a lot more early. Absolutely. B. Costello says the Eagles. Here's who I've ranked the top 6. I got Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, the reigning MVP, and Derrick Henry, number 1. I got Purdy and McCaffrey, 2nd. I got Hurts and 3rd. I got Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor, 4th. I've got Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs, Green Bay, 5th. And I got C.J. Stroud and Joe Mixon from the Houston Texans, 6th. There's probably a couple other teams out there that could be worthy to be on that list, but I would put out there that you clearly have the reigning MVP, and you have Derrick Henry, who had 1,200 yards last year, rushing the ball. That's going to help that Baltimore team absolutely incredibly in what they're going to look for this year. So I say this. Make no mistake about it. This is going to be interesting to see if that team gets out. Because if that team gets out to a slow start right away, that's going to be something to keep an eye on, because last year it took you 17 weeks. 17 weeks, and you still couldn't figure it out. Eagles going to hire Diddy as the DC. I like that. All right. Week 10 of the Philadelphia Eagles. Who do they play? Guys know? Guys know who you play in Week 10. Mahomes should be on that list. Mahomes and Pacheco, maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. Mahomes and Pacheco. Week 10 of the NFL. Who do you guys play? Play the Dallas Cowboys. We have Mark Holmes on at 3:30. Cowboys are in Week 10. All right, guys. How good are the Cowboys going to be in 2024? Now, I'm not breaking down the Cowboys. I'm giving you an overview of how I see the Cowboys. Okay, how good are the Cowboys going to be? Tanking for Shador? Maybe. One game at a time. On to Green Bay. I like it, Spike. Cowboys 5 wins, 9-8. They're trending down, says JM. I agree with that. Same great in season stats, one and done. They'll suck, but they'll beat us like they always do. And he's 9-4 against you guys. 6-11, 6 wins. Okay. Here's my view with them. Your Week 10, by the way, this game is in Arlington. CeeDee Lamb and Michael Parsons not at OTAs. Is it a big deal? Here's why it's a big deal. The Eagles take care of their business financially. When's the last holdout they had? Does anybody remember? When's the last holdout the Philadelphia Eagles had? You guys remember? Who was their last holdout? Who was the last Eagle holdout? 2012? Really? Was the last Philadelphia Eagle player to hold out? Hassan Reddick never held out. He never held out. He was dealt before the offseason workouts. Think about that. Deshaun Jackson? Djax? What year was that? 16? The Philadelphia Eagles haven't had a holdout since when? 2016? I mean, it's pretty remarkable. So, how do you feel that Hurts has the best-selling jersey right now? Though you shit on him consistently. Congratulations, you're selling T-shirts. What's that got to do with football? He's got a great fan base. Selling T-shirts and playing quarterback have nothing in common with one another. Nothing. Congratulations, fanboy. Your guy could sell a T-shirt. Fantastic. Wow. Wow. He could sell a T-shirt. Woo! Man, can he play quarterback? No. But he could sell a T-shirt. Hey, that's great. Sills, Hurts can sell a t-shirt. Can he play quarterback and pick up the blitz? No. Hey, all right. Shit, I guess. Yeah. Hell, hey, number one selling jersey over Josh Allen. Hey, there we go. We got something that he's better than Allen at. Selling a t-shirt. That means he sells more than Mahomes, too. Jalen Hurts sells more t-shirts than fucking Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. Yay! That shows you how stupid that shit is. Wait a minute. He sells more jerseys than Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson. Woo! There you go. How you doing? Wow, this guy's great. Congratulations. We found out something that Jalen Hurts can do better than those other guys. He can sell t-shirts. Way to go, dude. Thank you for the intel, man. I appreciate that. I saw that list. I was like, he sells more t-shirts. Okay. Way to go, dude. Why give him this ammo? Hey, Susie sells more than Allen. He sold more than Mahomes, too. What does that tell you? And Kelsey's second. Wow, look at the Eagle fans coming through for their players. Way to go. You guys are awesome. This is why we love you. Holy cow, you got Jason Kelsey and Pat. No. And Jalen Wishbone Hurts to sell more t-shirts than everyone else. One Wishbone t-shirt coming up. Hey, broken Wishbone, too. Make sure it's on the front cover of that thing. I bought 2 jerseys. I'm sure you did. Best fan base ever. Got to say you're right. Josh Allen lost to Hurts. Hurts lost to Tyrod Taylor. Good night. Hey, Josh Allen lost to Hurts. Okay, lost to Pat Mahomes and Lamar. You lost to Drew Lock and Tyrod. Can't shake that, man. Can't shake that. Can't shake it. Holy cow. Oh, that's fantastic, man. Hey, I like this C24 guy. He must be 7 years old. He's got to be a 7-year-old. This guy's, his prime job today is to make up fake. Hey, know this. Follow this with me here. You ready? You got a guy in here that makes up phony names with phony accounts to come on your show because he wants to be heard and seen by you. Is that crazy? Or is that stalker stuff? Hey, watch out, guys. Just watch out. This guy may be knocking on your door soon because he's a weirdo. I mean, he's crazy. At least LJ brings some content and takes a shit on Sills, and I actually like it. This guy's a stalker. Get this, he's got like 18 accounts. All right? And he must be 10 years old or work at WIP or both. Oh, man. Hey, Henry, always remember something, Henry. When you get a guy like that C24 guy, don't talk too much shit, man. You never know. Some of these guys come unglued, and they're like the post office guy. You show up to work and, you know what I mean? You just got to be a little nervous. Dan, please bring on Copizzle, Giants legend, to a show with Mark Holmes. Will be the best show ever. Bizzle will put Mark in his place. All right, I'll check it out, Texas. I'll check it out. I'll check out who that is. Let me write that name down. Copizzle. That's got to go through the vetting with Xander. So we'll have to take a look at the kid and see. There was a guy that wanted me to go on a show, but he drops too much filthy language. Not that I'm any cleaner, but I don't swear like that. So, just a little bit. So a little bit over the top for us, so we're not going to put him on like that there. But how you doing? True, Sills. Keep on cooking, Sills. Spitting facts like always. Thank you, my brother. Please hit the like button, guys. We so appreciate it. All right, man. I'd rather hear from Bavaro again. or Phil Simms, right? Mark Holmes, did you know Mark Holmes confessed his dying love to Mark Holmes? Oh, man. All right, here. Let me finish up with the Cowboys here, your Week 10 opponent. No CD or Parsons in camp. I'm going to say it one more time. CD Lamb, and I know 304 you watched the program, he's probably going to get $35 million. He's probably going to get $35 million. Michael Parsons is probably going to get 40. Are they worth it? I just don't see them as one of the top two players at their professions. Like, would you take CD Lamb over A.J. Brown? No. Would you take CD Lamb over Devontae Adams? No. Would you take him over Tyreek Hill? No. Would you take him over Justin Jefferson? No. Would you take him over Jamar Chase? No. What are we talking about here? You're going to pay $40 million or $35 million for a guy who's the 7th or 8th best wide receiver in the league? I don't see the value in that. Sills Jackson is in the gun with Henry. Hey, adapt. I know. I think they got to put him under center more. I think they got to put him under center. I mean, look, if I'm going to put the top wide receivers in the game right now, that kid up in Detroit might be better or as good. Jefferson's 1. Shit, man. AJ's 2. AJ's 2 or 3. Number 3, Tyreek Hill. Number 4, Devontae Adams. Number 5. How many people would take Cooper Kupp over CeeDee Lamb? Bare minimum, Bob. I agree. Bare minimum, A.J. Brown is 3rd. He's top 3. Hey, as much shit as I give him, I still tell you that he's one of the top 3 guys at his profession. Who would take CeeDee Lamb, who plays out of the slot, over Cooper Kupp? I mean, let's see. Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill. Would you take DK Metcalf over CeeDee Lamb? Would you take DK Metcalf over him? DK Metcalf is a good player, man. I like him. The kid Lockett's not bad. That kid, Terry McLaurin in Washington. Hey, is our resident Washington Commander / Redskin fan in here? Because if he is, I got something to say to you. Somebody told me something, and I happen to agree with the Washington Commanders. I'll tell you a little bit more about it here in a second. If you're in here, though, I got some good news for you. Sills, I'm taking Marvin Harrison Jr. over Lamb. Oh, I hear he's killing it out there in Arizona right now. They said that he's lived up and he has superseded expectations. They said that he is absolutely killing it. Yeah, let me know when James Jones is in here because he's a big Commander fan and he watches the program. And I got some good news for him about Terry McLaurin is a top receiver. He just needs a top quarterback. Devontae Smith better than CD. I don't know. Close. The Cardinals are going to be good. I agree, man. I think that roster's better than what people are thinking, and I do think Arizona's going to be all on what the quarterback does in Kyler Murray. Big year for him because they got to figure out if he's the guy. Cards are going to be good. Murray's got to be healthy. They got to figure out a way to keep him healthy, and who would have thunk it? Jonathan Gannon may actually have a good football team. He may actually. James Conner's not a bad back. He ran all over the Cowboys. CD wants to be AJ so bad. Well, he doesn't have the skill set of that. And yes, CD is a slot receiver. Think about what you're saying there too. J215. There is no question CD has the easier job because he's in the slot. He goes against safeties. He doesn't go against corners. So he's going to have pitch and catch the entire game. Whereas AJ and Devontae are going against arguably the greatest talents on the football field. I mean, there's nobody more talented than cornerbacks in the National Football League. It's the most talented position and the second most difficult position to play in pro football is corner. And you got to go against the best athletes and the second best players on the field. When it comes to athleticism, they're number one. Remember, they're running backwards against elite speed. I mean, these guys are Ferraris out there, these wide receivers, and you got to backpedal. I always tell people, hey, you really want to make sure, you want to know how hard it is to play corner in your cul-de-sac where you live? Do me a favor. Go in your cul-de-sac, find the fastest guy on the planet, and then run backwards and see how fast and how long you stay in front of that guy. Then you'll understand what we're talking about here. Thank you, Maniac, for keeping an eye on it. We're trying to get to 200 likes. We appreciate you guys each and every single day. Thank you again. Dotson's pretty good, too, on the other side of McLaurin. I like it. There's a conversation now going on with the Dallas Cowboys and inside the Dallas Cowboys about potentially making a move to try to get Michael Thomas, the Saints receiver, and putting him on the other side of CeeDee Lamb. Brandon Ayuk over CD? I don't think that. I wouldn't take that, Texas, but the Cowboys, there's conversation of the Dallas Cowboys thinking of putting Michael Thomas on the other side of CeeDee Lamb. Michael Thomas, that kid Ferguson, CeeDee Lamb, probably get another guy in there. That would really upgrade that passing attack if they were able to do that, getting Michael Thomas. Now, is Michael Thomas going to Michael Thomas is not going to be a one in Dallas, but Michael Thomas in Dallas will be a two. We'll bring this up with Mark Holmes, see if he's hearing this, because we're hearing that they're looking for another receiver and potentially, if they have to, make a trade to try to put another guy on the other side of CeeDee Lamb. Hunter Renfrow would be something to think about too. Putting him on the other side of Lamb. They're looking for, they need another. You see, Henry says Thomas is washed, maybe as a one. But when you're not in a primary role anymore, you don't know what he's not going to be asked to do. He's going to have less targets. He's going to have less opportunity. And he's going to be going against lesser talent. When you're the number one guy on your football team, you're going against the best corner in the league. When you're how many teams have two great corners? No one. Maybe three have two really good corners. The Eagles don't have one right now. I mean, there's very few teams like the Jets who have two good corners. Teams don't have that. Like I said, the Eagles don't have one good corner now. Okay, compared to what the Jets do. So when you put a receiver like Michael Thomas on a lesser talented guy, he's going to beat that. So washed? What does washed mean? So he's 75% of Michael Thomas of a couple of years ago going against the third or fourth best guy on your roster in the secondary. Big deal. Eagle fan goes, that's your opinion. No, it's not your opinion. You're 31st in the pass defense line. Get this. Eagle fan thinks that's my opinion when you finished 31st last year in pass defense. And because you just went through pajamas, you're now all of a sudden the fifth best. We'll see. But right now, you're the 31st best pass defense in the National Football League. That's who you are until you change that narrative. You're nothing more than that. You're nothing more than that. Okay? Nothing more. You're acting like something has changed. You're acting like something has changed. Nothing has changed. Okay? Until you go and validate it in September. Nothing has changed. Nothing. That hurts, Sills. But wait a minute. Des, why does it hurt? You have a chance to change it. Last year, you didn't. This year, you do. You've got so much potential. Don't be aggravated when someone tells you who you are today. This is why this. Do not act like defensive rankings do not change each year. How are they going to change with the same corners and players who've never played a pro down in their life? How does that change in the benefit of the better number for you, senor? How does that you've got Cooper DeJean, you have Quinyon Mitchell, and you've got a very inexperienced Keely Ringo. How in the world does that change that top 31 or finishing 31st in pass defense today on June 12th? And you think that's the better? Where are you coming with that from? Hey, senor, give me one thing to land on and I'll go, he's right. You've been right. Hey, senor, you've said some right things. Tell me how that changes. Because you have Gardner Johnson, your cornerback play is going to be better. No one is playing games on June 12th, brother. That's the point. Thank you. You're not better today. You're 31st. Right. With great potential in September. We'll see if that coordinator works. The last one didn't. We'll see. Hey, you got a 50-50 shot. Vic Fangio's the guy. Last year's one didn't work. This year's did work. Or maybe will. I don't know. Isaiah Rodgers never played it down for the Philadelphia Eagles. Never played for Vic Fangio ever. I'd be careful. This is the same shit you did a year ago by telling me that Brian Johnson and Sean Desai wouldn't matter and it wouldn't have an effect and the team will be better because they're the Eagles. Okay? Old school Vic Fangio is going to bring some Okay. We'll see if that's validated in September. You see, this is why, senor, he wants me to be a guy to make a prediction that right now he thinks that the team is going to be great. I don't do that. I'm telling you right, validate that in September, you're who you are. Which means I never get my expectations up too high like you guys do. And some of yours down too low. That's exactly why some of you have a big crash and burn. Eagle fans last year had such a massive, I don't know who had a stronger fold, the Eagle team or the fans on what they witnessed. The Eagle fans were so disappointed in the demise of the team, they couldn't believe it. You know why? How many weeks did you guys come in here going 6-0, 7-0, 10-1, 10-2? And then you saw what happened. And I kept telling you from New England on, that team's not that good. You're right, Sills. Eagles will be the same or worse than last year? That's actually a great question, Senor. Will the Eagles be better or worse than a year ago? That's a great question. Senor, this is why guys like him are really good in bringing topics to the show. I love that. Will the Eagles be better this year than they were a year ago? You won 11 games. You were 8th in offense. Okay? The pass defense was terrible. I got it. But you were 8th and you had record-breaking years on offense. Okay? Will they be better in pass defense than 31st? JM, you would think so. Hey, well, how about this, JM? You want to hear this? JM, if that team a year ago was 20th in pass defense, you probably win 12, 13 games and win the division. And you might have home field. Would you agree? Would you agree? If they had finished 20th instead of 31st, they may have won 12, 13 ball games. They won 11 with a meltdown. And I agree with you. I agree, Senor. Here, Sills, do you think the Eagles will be ranked better than 31st, 20th, 15th, and 5th in offense? Well, you went to a Super Bowl with the 16th ranked defense in 22 and one of the top 2 offenses in the league, didn't you? Isn't that how you went to the Super Bowl? Guys, when I said that to you, I'm not throwing shade on you. I'm actually giving you an opportunity to have a leaps and bound growth from being 31 on June 12th to being 15th. That would be an incredible leap in pass defense. If you went from 31st to 15th, look at what did Xander say yesterday? The Eagles were first in pass defense in 22. You were the second worst pass defense in pro football. That's a bigger nuclear meltdown than your 1-7 record, counting the playoffs. That's a bigger nuclear meltdown. You went from the best pass defense in pro football. Now the sack, 70. Gardner Johnson, 6 picks. The turnover ratio was crazy. You not only were terrible last year in pass defense, you were terrible in turnover ratio. All of that played into why the defense looked terrible last year. I mean, by the end of the year, it didn't resemble anything of 22. Nothing. Not even the run defense, which got out to a great start early on, especially in the first month of the season. Absolutely. Let me finish up here. I think Trey Lance took advantage a little bit of his time there with Mike McCarthy. They have to find a run game, and they have to find a defense that can stop the run, the Dallas Cowboys. Mozzie Smith, in my opinion, let me say this to you. We're all a little bit shaken and down on Jordan Davis. Hey, you remember that movie, Ford versus Ferrari? I actually like that. Remember when they were at the showroom and they were unveiling the Mustang? And the driver, Ken, he gets up there and he starts talking to the guy from Ford. He goes, lose that crazy 3-speed. Take about 2 tons out of the car. That stupid, shitty paint job that you have on the car. Remember he was saying all that stuff to the guy? Hey, my wife loves the Mustang. Remember what he said? Then he goes like this. Hey, you take all that and I would still get a Chevy Chevelle. And that's a fucking terrible car. This is how I compare Mozzie Smith to Jordan Davis. Dude, all the things that Jordan Davis struggles on, I watch Mozzie Smith. I would take Jordan Davis, the first overall pick, if that guy was my second pick. And it wouldn't be close. It's not close. Mozzie Smith has no feet. He's not good. And I told you on draft day that guy was a third or fourth round pick. I watched him at Michigan. I never thought he was good. There's a guy there they have right now who's really good. That guy, fucking terrible. He has no feet. Milton Williams is better than Mozzie Smith. This guy has no feet. He has no hand placement. He's not good. He's just not good. I don't know how they're going to fix that. You put him on a slant nose? I don't know. Okay. Thank you. Hey, Maniac, thank you, man. Already, man. First hour, 101. You guys are killing it. Trying to get to 200, man. 99 away already after the first hour. Fantastic, guys. Mike Zimmer has to have the same impact on that Cowboy defense that Vic Fangio has to have on the Philadelphia Eagles defense. Here's the problem that the two defenses have. Okay? Eagles struggle with pass defense, and the Cowboy defense struggles with run defense. I think you can fix pass defense with scheme and better players. But run defense, you got the same guys. They're going to get run over again. Coach telling me with better technique, you're still going to get run over. Micah Parsons will always be run over. Dude, here's my game plan against Micah Parsons. Just run over him. Run right at him. My game plan would be to run at him everywhere you line him up. If he runs and they put him over the A-gap, run at the A-gap. If they put him on a 5 technique, run him at the 5 technique, off tackle. If they put him in the 3-gap between the guard and tackle, run off the gap between the guard and tackle. Everywhere he is my game plan when it comes to my run game. When I install my game plan against the Cowboys, I am running at him and that other kid at the other end. They're not very good run defenders. And no matter what Mike Zimmer does, that will not change that dynamic. They're not run defenders. They need better interior inside DTs to help that defense. And I don't think they upgraded. I don't give a shit what Mike Zimmer does. The Cowboys are a finesse defense because the premier player on the defense is a finesse player. Here, think about the great players that are playing. TJ Watt is not a finesse player. He's not really the biggest guy on the planet, but he's not a finesse player. TJ Watt is a guy who can play on tight ends and play on OTs. Myles Garrett is not a finesse player. Max Crosby is not a finesse player. Nick Bosa is not a finesse player. Michael Parsons is a finesse player. That's why he gets dogged. I mean, I don't get it. Parsons doesn't like to play the run. That's why I say $35 million for a guy who's almost a little bit one-dimensional like Hassan Reddick. Not me. Of all the guys, and get this, they're going to pay him because they think he's great, but he's not. I'll tell you this, man. When you're a Dallas Cowboy, you completely get more money than your value. Tell me this, okay? Tell me this about the Cowboys. Name me one player in the last, I'll bring this up with Mark. Name me one player in the last 15 years that they paid on scale that you thought was worth it. Hey, look, watch this. Is Jordan Mailata worth $18 million? No fucking way. Absolutely he is, that I wouldn't pay him that money. Is Landon Dickerson worth 20? Absolutely. Is Lane worth 25? Absolutely. Is AJ worth 32? Absolutely. Is Devontae worth 18? Absolutely. Now let's do this with the Cowboys. Is Dak Prescott worth $55 million? Absolutely not. Was Ezekiel Elliott worth $15 million 3 years ago? Absolutely not. Maybe when he was at the height of his career, Des Bryant was. Is Zach Martin, who they don't even want to pay, is he worth the money of $18 million? Absolutely he is. He's a Hall of Famer. Get this. They didn't want to pay Tyron Smith because they couldn't. You could name a handful of Cowboys. What was that kid's name? That linebacker guy, Jalen Smith? That thing that they thought they got to steal out of Notre Dame? They gave him $25 million. He fucking stunk. I mean, name me anybody that the Cowboys have had. They're going to overpay those corners who get torched because they gamble too much. The Dallas Cowboys, at least here's another thing that Jimmy did when he was running the franchise and the player personnel. Jimmy never overpaid for anybody. Nobody on that Cowboy team was ever the highest paid guy when Coach Johnson was there. That includes Emmett, Aikman, and Michael Irvin. They never were overpaid. Jerry, you know how he validates his players? With paychecks and not play. There lies the problem where they have to start dumping guys when they make a move for Amari Cooper. Or they have to move off of Tyron Smith. They consistently overpay. And it doesn't make, I mean, they overpay. If I mean, hey, Jeff, that wasn't my saying. I don't believe the Chevelle's a shitty car. That 352 in it, I don't believe it is either. Jeff, I don't think the Chevelle's a shitty car. That was the scene from the movie. I don't think it's a shitty car either. Especially when you got highway gears in it and that black, you know, that not the flat black, but the black one they had back in the day. That 352 Chevelle, those cars are sweet, dude. Sills, with hype coming from cornerback room, would you rather they spend the DJ pick on Edgerrin Cooper? Yeah. Yeah, because Cooper went in the second round. Get this, he's calling plays where he is now. He's calling plays. 396, not a 352. Thank you, Twiz. Thank you for correcting me. That's why you got a wrench. Seals, do you think the 49ers have cap issues as well? Yeah, they're around $300,000 right now, floating around that cap. That's why Ayuk is in question, whether or not he's going to be a camp casualty. Hey, either they're going to deal Brandon Ayuk or they're going to cut him or something's gonna have to roll here because they offered him only $25 million, and that's not gonna get it done for him. He's not gonna give them the deal that Devontae Smith gave him. He doesn't see himself as that. He sees himself better than Debo. Okay? He sees himself better like that. Wow, that's really great. Thank you so much, Maniac. Way to go, man. 120 likes. That's fantastic. Please subscribe. Thank you. I really appreciate that, man. We're only through the first hour here. 120 likes in the first hour. Outstanding. Can't thank you guys enough. So let me wrap this up here. I just don't see it with the Cowboys, though. I just don't. I really don't. I know there's a lot of people in Vegas think that this team is going to be a good football team this year. I'll concede this, 5 to 8 wins. I just don't know where you're going to get your running attack from. I mean, I have no idea who their running game is. I don't even know who their running back is now. I have no idea. And it's not Zeke. He's better than Debo? No, he's not. Debo is better than him because Debo's used differently than him. I got the Cowboys between, 6 to 8 wins, something in there. I know people completely disagree, but there's some people who think that they're gonna win 11, 12 games. I don't know. Who's the number 2 wideout? Who's the number 1 running back? How are you stopping the run? Hey, are you bringing Stephon Gilmore back? Or are you going to rely on Brand and Diggs to be your corners who gamble? And Mike Zimmer doesn't like gambling. Okay? I don't know. Just, I don't get it. There's a lot of folks that like that. So, again, we appreciate Parsons to the Eagles next year. I don't want him. I don't want Micah Parsons. Now, I'll put an asterisk on that. I'll take Micah Parsons if Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis look like all pros this year. If those guys play like all pros this year, I'll take them. But for him to be an effective player, like you want to know where he'd get 20 sacks? You go to the defense that is number 1 in rush defense, he'll have 20 sacks. You put him on a defense that can't stop the run, he'll be a deficiency in your defense like he was pretty much every single time that they had to play again. Look at what the Buffalo Bills did to him. Bills threw the ball 14 times. They ran the ball the rest of the game, and they crushed them. There's you know how I told you people figured out Hurts a little bit? Well, they figured out Parsons. Just run the ball a little bit. Just run it. We don't pick up Cowboy players. William, don't think that way. You want to pick up good football players. Okay? Dallas' defense is built for leads. That's when you have a running game, Twiz. That's when you have a running game. Parsons and Carter would be insane together. Yeah. Okay? If they can stop the run, he fits on that Eagle defense. He does. He fits on that Eagle defense. If they can't stop the run, he doesn't. Not Dallas Cowboys. It should be the Hollywood Cowboys. No, it should be more the Kardashian Cowboys. Because that's what they are. They love the drama. That's like saying we don't want Barkley because he was a Giant. Absolutely, Dominic. I don't care what that's and how that comes out, who he played for. If he can help your football team, you put him on your team. So you're saying because Lawrence Taylor wasn't Giant, you wouldn't want Lawrence Taylor on your team? You think the Packers cared that he was an Eagle? When Reggie White went to Green Bay? I mean, right? Hey, look, guys, Mark Holmes, and we're hoping, see if we got an update here. And we're hoping our friend Philly 500 is going to be here. A lot of comments being made about the Cowboys this year. And especially right now going on with what's going on in camp right now. Hopefully Philly 500 is going to be able to join us. 500 said he'll be here just a bit late. Fantastic. All right. We come back. I got a question for you, and I think it's important. Where are we right now in the likes, my friend? Xander, where are we in the likes? I think you guys had a great first hour. Philly 500 is going to join us. Holy cow! 130 likes in 1 hour. Nicely done, guys. Nicely done. Giving you kudos. Fantastic. Mark's going to join us at the bottom of the hour first. Then 500 is going to scoot in. And we're going to have our legendary Wednesday Battle Royale. Hit the like button. Keep it here. National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Val Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Okay. So I can't do this with the number. Let me do this. This is from Hassan Reddick. Right here. Okay. This is from Reddick. Dude, there's so much shit going around right now, and people are just posting shit and saying shit in social media and all over the apps and the news outlets. Running crazy. The narratives are not true, and you're all just buying it. I hope you're not. So, dude, I mean, I'm not going to tell them. But I would say this. You need to fire your ass, your agent's ass. You need to get his ass out of there. Because it just doesn't seem he's helping you. Okay? It doesn't seem he's helping you. And you guys have misread the market. Okay? He just not. I like the guy. Are the Eagles at plus 700 to win the NFC East or NFC a good value? Yeah. Absolutely. But hey, Lore, I do think they're going to start slow. I do. I do. Man, that thing has turned into some pretty good shit up there in New York. I think Howie just did this. I don't want any part of it. Let me get out of this. And he pushed that problem onto Joe Douglas. At the end of the day, you got to say this right now on June 12th. Howie's right to get that out of his locker room. This is the same guy that pretended he wanted to make it work in Philly, but wouldn't budge off the $25 million. Talk and walk don't mesh for Reddick. It's really outstanding. As long as our schemes are incremental better than last year, we are a 13-win team, says LJ. Are you a better team than you were a year ago? Well, we'll see. You're lesser talented. There's no getting around Fletcher Cox. That's going to lead me to a question here. And Jason Kelce and Reddick not being on your team. Those are 3 Pro Bowlers. One guy had 6.5 sacks from the defensive tackle position. Reddick was a Pro Bowler. And Jason Kelce was an All-Pro. I mean, there's no other way to look around it. And you're not replacing them with Pro Bowlers. You're not. So, I mean, there's and the one thing, you see where LJ's saying scheme over talent? That's not what Vic Fangio said. Hey, Vic, what makes a good defense? Players. Better players. That's from the mouth of the D coordinator, not scheme. The D coordinator's words. Hey, Vic, what makes for a good defense? Good players. Good players. You can draw up the best plan. And if you don't have the players and the Jimmies and Joes, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Okay? Undersized DE with 32-inch arms is not a good thing. That's why Nolan Smith will not be a good player. Not Reddick. Ultra Cowboy. Agreed. Okay? I'm curious if Reddick comes back like Gardner Johnson, especially after losing Brandon Graham. He's not coming back to this place at $15 million, I'll tell you that. That ship has sailed. Eagles cannot sustain success every year is a roller coaster. That's because way they pick coaches. Black Leo, that's the way they pick coaches. They pick coaches that way. By the way, Mark Holmes will join us at the bottom of the hour, and we're also going to be joined by Philly 500. He may be a little bit late. I got to throw this out here to you. Man, I'd love to have Fletcher Cox back. I'd really love to have him back. And I'd pay him $10 million to come back. You just don't have enough depth interior. You just do not have enough. I would pay him $10 million. You got $27 million in cap space. Go give him 10. Entice him to come out of retirement. Don't make him go through training camp. Or go sign Sue. One of those guys. Get Sue. Hey, can you imagine how good do you think the Eagle defense would be with Sue and Fletcher backing up Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis? You're not asking those guys to play frontline minutes. You're just asking them to be there and make critical plays, high volume plays with low volume reps. And I think they both can do it. The potential of that defensive line would accentuate itself. And then you know what else you do? You help out Devin White, and you also help out maybe Nakobe Dean. If you've got formidable play in front of those linebackers, you need, in my opinion, if you want to get good linebacker play, you need more depth at DT. Sue's been working out, and he's in shape. He's not coming to training camp. Now, remember something. How many plays are we talking about for Ndamukong Suh? That depends on Jordan Davis. Are you 100% sold that Jordan Davis inside is going to play 67% of the snaps this year? Do you think Jordan Davis is going to go for 17 weeks playing 67% of the snaps? Brandon Graham, here. I'm going to be kind here. Brandon Graham is a ceremonial figure on that defense this year. Okay. There's a part of me that hates it. There's a part of me that understands it. But he's a ceremonial figure. I mean, there's two dudes that really don't have a job. The King of England and Brandon Graham. Not really a job for him. They're just kind of figureheads. So don't count on him to help any of the edge guys. What's he going to play? 19%? What do you have? 19 tackles last year? That number's going to be lesser. But dude, it's okay after 30 or 15 years of, I'm not ripping it. Okay? Sue can still play. Remember something. You're not asking him to play 70% of the snaps. You're just not. Brandon Graham there for leadership and teaching young guys. I'm a little suspect on that, especially what happened last year and what he's talking now. I'm a little disappointed in that conversation. Guys, please hit the like button. I love the idea of Judon, but he's going to command more than the $6.5 million he's going to supposedly make this year with New England. That's going to be a different conversation. And I don't know what the compensation New England would want for him. I mean, you'd be talking about a first-round guy here. So let me go over here. And I want to read this here. By the way, Philly 500 will join us here. He's going to be a little late. Maybe he's a little scared of Mark. I don't know. But this was my assessment of the Dallas Cowboys in week 10 of the Eagles-Cowboys season. It's in Arlington. This is what I wrote, just an overview as they're in camp now. CeeDee Lamb, Michael Parsons, not at OTAs. Big deal? No, not really. I don't think it's a big deal. Dallas media will make a bigger deal out of it, but at the end of the day, you'd like to have those guys in camp, especially CeeDee Lamb. Okay, you would. Parsons, in my opinion, he's the lesser of the three guys they have to worry about. Because remember something I told you. One thing about Michael Parsons, here's my game plan against him. Everywhere he's lined up, run at him. He's awful against the run. Now, They get 2 good D tackles in there. He's a 20-sack guy. Trey Lance took advantage of some of the opportunities he got this offseason. Now, I will tell Mark something here that I learned a couple days ago. Cowboys are interested in Michael Thomas. I'm putting him on the other side of CeeDee Lamb. People go, Michael Thomas is washed. Well, again, how many NFL teams have great corners like the Jets? None. The Eagles don't have 2 good corners now. So you put Michael Thomas on the other side of CeeDee Lamb and put him in the 2-hole against a lesser inferior guy who's playing corner. I mean, CeeDee Lamb and Michael Thomas. Then you have Ferguson. And you're talking about a passing game that could move the sticks a bit here. Or maybe even Hunter Renfrow. Could be somebody to put out there. They got to find a run game, and they got to find a run-stopping game. Mozzie Smith, I'm telling you, I don't care what Mike Zimmer does. That is going to be an uphill battle to see if that guy is going to be the next Danny Noonan. Mike Zimmer is going to have the same impact that Vic Fangio has to have in Philly. I think it's going to be a challenging year for them. Now, if they could stop the run the ball, they'll be in the conversation for the East. But I like the idea of them trying to find another number 2. Let's bring in our friend, Mark Holmes here. He joins us now. What'd you make of my assessment there, Big Mark, when we're talking about the Cowboys?
Oh,
what'd you make of my what'd you make of my assessment there, my friend?
Damn, you pulled me in there too soon, bro. I wasn't ready. But before we get to the assessment, you sound a lot like me. But see, I think you need to change something that you're doing with your show. You always start out with Big Sil. I think you need to change it to Big Xander.
Look at here.
Big Xander.
Okay, I'm getting sick of this
reliable source, man. He's big
I'm getting sick of this stuff with this guy here. We put him on for a couple weeks, and he's getting headlines like this. Look at this. He's getting headlines. Eagles not happy with Dan Sileo. Xander confirmed. So I'm like, who the fuck is Xander?
Hold on. Why would the Eagles not be happy with you? I mean, you tell them that your quarterback is like the 15th best in the NFL, that your offensive coordinator, you got questions with them basically putting out 95% of a new offense and everything else, and that Nick Sirianni, that nobody likes him because, he's just an idiot, and the ownership meddles with the play calling with analytics.
You see how a Cowboy guys, you see what a Cowboy does? You see what a Cowboy guy does? He immediately deflects.
I'm not deflecting. I'm asking real questions.
Deflects away from all the shitty problems that they have because they only talk money in Dallas. They don't talk wins. You see this, guys? They only talk money in Dallas. They talk money and fame. They don't talk about wins.
Isn't that what it's all about these days?
Money and wins in Dallas? Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just concerned because, I saw the headlines that you were in deep kimchi, and I was like, damn, am I going down in a sinking ship here? So let me be clear here. So the Philadelphia Eagles watch your channel quite often.
Yes.
When I say F them birds, I'm saying that to the Eagles front office then?
Yes.
Okay. F them birds. Okay.
Well, here's the problem that you have, because you see, I don't know, man. It's kind of like when brothers go after one another, we all sit here and they have allowed me to kind of like be a little more critical. Mm-hmm. But when a cowboy honk like you says it, it somehow it does strike up something for me to fire back and just go, you see, but you're too easy though. The Cowboys are too easy because all you just have to do is this: winning. That's all you just have to say is winning. And you
9-4. 9-4. Excuse me. I have a little sneeze there.
9-4. Is that Dak's record you're quoting me here?
I just sneezed. I just sneezed, bro. But here, before I go back to your analysis, which I believe is spot on, I think you and I are actually speaking the same thing. Where's the chicken?
Oh, Are you referencing Philly 500 as a chicken?
Yeah. Where's the chicken?
Why would Philly 500 be a chicken?
After he read me the riot act and told me I lost the power because I didn't show up, he didn't show up. Now, granted, he said it was his
wait a minute. His
kid.
kid was graduating. Come on.
What, elementary school?
Wait a minute.
Bro,
you were giving grandmothers
elementary school. All you
wait a
eat
minute.
is crackers.
You were giving grandmothers maple syrup.
It's not like college graduation, bro.
You were up there giving grandmas maple syrup. This guy's kid was graduating.
Bro, it was elementary school.
Let's bring in Philly 500 here.
It was elementary school.
What's up, Big Sills?
What's up, Big 500?
Hey, look, Fredo Holmes is here.
Oh,
it's Fredo Holmes.
Fredo.
So full of
Fredo.
shit.
Maybe we ought to call you
Let me explain
this.
Let me explain this, and maybe you can help me, Big Sills. I think Mark thinks that somehow I'm under some sort of contract that I'm supposed to be here every Wednesday like him. I come on days you text me in the morning. I have to life. I have things to do. I'm not guaranteed or committed to coming every week. He made that commitment. I do my best. I go out of my way to come on. So what is he talking about? Like I didn't show up. I don't have to show up.
I feel honored because
contract.
Big Xander texted me about 2:00 and said, "Here's the link to the show." In fact, I believe Dan actually texted me and said, "Are you coming on today?"
I did.
Well, they probably thought you were in Vermont at some.
And if there's a contract, wait, am I getting paid?
Are you committed to come on every week? Are you committed to come on every week?
I will, unless there is something that's more urgent. Me coming on here, knowing
yes or no?
The Eagles
are you
front
committed to
office
coming on
is listening to me.
It's a yes or no question there.
I listen.
Yes or no question.
I don't think he is. I don't, but he does because he thinks 500 that you are more in the line here where you run from him because he's the Cowboys and you're the Eagles.
How could Mike Tyson be scared of Spinks after he knocked them out in 30 seconds? I've KO'd this guy so many times. It's like,
I love you, son.
How about son? Hey,
Philly, I love you too, but I ain't
how
the
about
son.
this? Let me ask you this, and we'll go back and forth here. Do you have a problem with the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles and the head football coach not liking one another?
I do not know if that is true or not. So that's the first
Philly,
thing.
he teed him up and he goes, "What's Nick Sirianni's role?" He goes, "I don't know."
Listen, Dan, that was a trick question. You understand? And I could prove this. I could actually prove this. If you're Jalen Hurts, and this is the question that they give you, what have you noticed about Nick being open-minded to change up the offense like he has? What does that say about him? Now, if I'm Jalen Hurts, the first thing I'm going to think is, this is a trick question. If I say, "Oh, he's changed up a lot" or whatever, the narrative is going to be Jalen Hurts is blaming Nick Sirianni for last year. I think Jalen Hurts looked at that question and said, they're trying to put me on the spot here. That's why he sat there and thought about it and then answered it the way he is. Now, I am not saying that they don't have problems. I don't know. But based upon that answer, I think I know exactly what Jalen Hurts was doing. He was trying to not get baited into some corner, which I think that's what that question was. Because as soon as he said,
how about this? But Philly, Devontae and AJ said, "Hey, these routes this year, we don't have handcuffs on." I mean, there's guys now that are now saying things about the power structure of Nick here. I mean, it's starting to come out now.
I don't disagree that there could be something. There could be. I just can't take that comment and run with it the way that people have run with it. Because to me, I just look at it and I say, man, Jalen Hurts, if he says, yeah, he's changed a lot, you know what they're going to be saying? Jalen Hurts threw Nick Sirianni under the bus yesterday about last year. and that's all they would be talking about. So to me, I think that Jalen Hurts didn't know how to answer that question, which is what he basically said, because it was a question that was going to put him on the spot. That's what I think. Now, maybe they don't like each other. I don't know. But I couldn't take it from that.
But here, for you, Mark, okay, so they had an issue. What's your excuse for melting down last year?
My excuse for melting down?
Yeah, what was the Cowboys' excuse for shitting the bed against the Packers last year?
Well, if you want my honest opinion on it, I think that the Cowboys were so surprised that we ended up being the number 2 seed. No, stop rolling your head, man. Stop rolling your head. That they relaxed. We fell back on this. We got 16-game win streak at home. We got the 7th seed. And, we're sitting here talking about after victory parties the day before the game. And they came in there and they got pumped.
Sills, ask him who was looking for Super Bowl tickets before the game.
Oh, but wait a minute. Hold up, bro.
Ask him who was investigating Super Bowl tickets.
Hold on, Phil.
Right, Mark, were you not looking for Super Bowl tickets?
Was I not looking for Super Bowl tickets?
Yeah.
Of course.
I have it on tape.
Did you think the Cowboys were really going to go to the Super Bowl?
You never know. You never know.
Yes, you do know.
It's better. It's better to have and not need than to need and not have.
How about this, Mark? I know when I watched the movie.
Hold up, though, Philly.
Wait a minute. I know this, Mark. When I watched the movie Titanic, the boat goes down. When I watch the Cowboys year in and year out, I know that boat goes down too.
Okay. All right. You know what? I'll give you that one. We choked that game. Flat out. But let me ask you this:
It's every year.
But what is a bigger choke? The Cowboys losing to Green Bay, or you guys coming off the Super Bowl doing all of this stuff to be great, and you guys after joking us on losing to teams like the Cardinals,
coming off the what?
You lose off the Super Bowl loss, choking in the Super Bowl.
So in order to lose Super Bowl, you got to get to it. You can't even get to the championship.
Yes,
game.
and you do get to it. And you're 25% victories in that, bro.
I have made no excuses about that being one of the most epic collapses in the history of the NFL. But it's once every 8-9 years. You guys, it's every year. Every year, Mark. The one thing I know is I have to pay taxes, and that Dallas will choke in the playoffs. It's a sure thing.
The funniest thing about the Eagles. People have said that I've talked over you guys a lot, so I'm trying to be better and be less vocal. I'm trying to let you. I'm trying to let you speak, Philly.
I know you, dude. I see you. You see what he does? He kind of juices you up. Gives you a round, then he punches you in the head. I know what you're doing, Mark.
I know all Mark's tricks. Believe me.
Dan. You know what used to piss people off? Okay, when I was in high school as an offensive lineman, is when you literally clean somebody's clock and you smile at them and you try to help them up. They literally like, fuck you, get away from me.
Mark.
But let me speak here for a second. First things first. Have you talked to your wife about your fear of Kennedy being assassinated in Dallas? Are you going to show up in Dallas or not?
I'm not scared to go to Dallas. I'm not a president.
Okay, then are you going to say right here, right now, that you will meet us in Dallas for that game?
No. What's the bet? Tell me the bet. What is the bet?
I don't care what you name the bet. I'm just saying that. Listen, we got Dan Sileo, who's being watched at this moment by the Eagles undercover people for everything he says. We got you, Philly 500, the greatest Eagles content creator. And then we got little old Mark Holmes and the Dallas Cowboys. You put all that together, man. That's like freaking Wrestling Mania, bro. Cowboys, Eagles, everything on the line.
Hang on to that thought. I got something for Mark. I got something for Mark.
The idea. Oh my God.
Wait a minute.
You're chicken shit.
Wait. Rob A asked Mark, "Hey Mark, was the pick six and the other INT by Dak in the Green Bay game due to a broken thumb? I'm asking for a friend."
Oh, putting my asking for a friend. Shit happens, people. Shit happens. Kind of like
every
having
year,
a fumble in the Super Bowl. Shit happens.
Every year shit happens in Dallas. You know what it is, Mark?
What is it, Billy?
Here's the thing. You only focus on the regular season. Why do you not admit the failures of your quarterback in the playoffs? Why? Well, no, seriously. Why can't you admit that your quarterback hasn't shown that he can win the big game? That's all I want to know.
And your quarterback showed that he can win the big game?
No, I mean, we're not talking about my quarterback.
Wait. I'm sorry. Jalen Hurts has showed that he can win the big game?
My quarterback, he could have won the MVP. You give him one more drive, and he's winning the Super Bowl.
I could say if Dak Prescott had one more drive against Green Bay, his rookie year. If Dak Prescott had gotten one more drive against the Rams, I mean, that's if cans and butts were nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
Jalen Hurts played good in the Super Bowl. What playoff game has Dak played good?
Green Bay Packers, Tampa
Bay.
Last
year, pick 6.
Green Bay.
Or is that
rookie
or you
year,
mean the
bro.
one where you mean when he was a number 1 seed?
Actually,
he had two
interceptions, but you actually look at the yardage and turning it around. They still were in that game. If their defense could have gotten a stop or two in the second half, they could have had a great comeback victory.
Hey, Mark, who would you take as your quarterback in Dallas? Tony Romo or Dak Prescott?
Wait a minute. Ask that question again.
Who would you take as your starting quarterback in Dallas if you had to put and build your team around right now? Tony Romo or Dak Prescott?
Dak Prescott. Because Dak
Prescott.
They're
the same guy.
No, actually they're not. Tony Romo in the late part of his years stayed injured. It was always one of 3 things would happen late in his career. He'd make an incredible pass and you'd be like, oh my God, Tony Romo. Or it would be a Tony Ono, or 3, he'd get knocked the F out.
You're being called Mark Prescott right now.
Well, they call me, you know what? You can call me whatever you want to. Prescott. Just watch. That's all I got to say. Shout out to Dirty Sanchez.
Mark is just
but still, see, you talk about me deflecting.
It's just
Philly 500 is still not committing to making Wrestling Mania of the NFL in Dallas.
I'm not committed to going to Dallas right now. Yes.
I'll
let you know when I'm committed.
And well, give at least give me a reason why. Give me a reason why.
Because he told me you always cancel.
Well, you already changed the bet on me. You already bailed and canceled the own bet. To me, I think that when you say, "Hey, I'm going to force you to make this bet," and then you cancel on me, and you say that you're not allowed, your wife won't let you, you're scared, and then you try to turn around and make me scared. See, you want me to do whatever you want. I have to drop everything I'm doing my whole life.
Let's go to Philly.
Mark Holmes at
Let's go to Philly then.
At any moment.
Listen, Philly 500. I'll meet you anywhere, bro.
Yeah, okay,
I tell you what, Philly. I'm gonna be in. In Oxnard.
What is the bet? But what is the bet?
You can, like you said, got the juice, bro.
Wait, I got one for you. I got one for you, and this is. How about we do this? Okay, Philly, you're out here already with me. Yeah. Mark's got to go across half the country, but he's going to anyway. How about if I set it up that the 3 of us broadcast live from Cowboy Camp?
There you go.
In Oxnard.
Maybe, yeah, I might do that. I might do that.
Just come up for like a couple hours there.
I might do that. I might do that.
And
it's looking like I'll be there the last week that they're there because they're going to be practicing against the Rams.
Well, I'm going to be going to a Rams camp too.
Listen, Sills, he tried to pull this off of me where he wanted to bet that if the Eagles win, he would have to wear an Eagles jersey walking out of the link. What risk is that to you? Putting an Eagles jersey on after they win and walking out of there. Nobody cares. That's nothing. But if the Eagles lose, I got to wear a Cowboys jersey walking out of there. Now, come on. You see what he does? You see how manipulative he is?
I know his game now.
Okay.
You're the king of the reach around.
Yeah.
Ooh, wait a minute.
Yeah, no, you go like this. You give a reach around. You're like, hey, that feels pretty good. And then you realize you're getting punched in the head.
And then when you get punched in the head, he goes, what's wrong? You don't like it?
You don't like it? Listen, if you don't like my bets, you come.
I don't like. All right, I will, but I don't like your bets.
So wait a minute, Philly. I want to have a question. I have a question for you. So if Cowboys and Eagles split this year, that means that Dak Prescott will be 9-5 versus
10-5.
10-5. Excuse me. He'll be 10-5 versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
Right.
What's that record mean to you?
I think at this point, Dan, it doesn't mean much because for me to really evaluate and give Dak Prescott credit, he's got to win in the playoffs. I mean, we're talking about regular season games, regular season bets that we pretty much sweep the last few years. Let's talk about playoffs. Let's talk about winning a playoff game and doing something like who goes further in the playoffs. To me, that's way more interesting than whatchamacallit. But I mean, to me, let's do it. I mean, at this point, if I was a Dallas Cowboy fan and a Dak Prescott fan, I would be saying he's got to win something when it counts in the playoffs. Otherwise, everything in the regular season is just regular season. At this point, I think Dak has been in the league long enough that you have to look beyond the regular season. I just do.
Mark, what do you make of that record?
It's funny because you Eagles have turned into what you used to hate. It used to be because when we used to call you guys the ringless wonders, you guys would always talk, well, we've got a better record in the regular season. We've been beating you in the, in the 2000s. Or even crazier is they would go back to the 3 world championships that were before me and you were born, Dan.
Who are you talking about?
Oh, Eagle fans.
Nobody
Once you
said
finally
that.
made it up the mountain and finally got that one Super Bowl, all of a sudden you started being this arrogant,
Believe me, I was there.
You think Eagle fans are arrogant?
Oh my God. Seriously? You would think that the collapse that they had last year didn't happen and they were still in the Super Bowl. Because we choked.
No,
we lost it.
That's pure
we
jealousy.
We lost it in against
jealousy.
Green Bay. They lost week
after
week after week, where all they needed to do was just win one game.
Jealous.
Just one game. Like against the Cardinals. Like you joked us and told us we're a bunch of chokers. You lost to the Cardinals. You know how satisfying it was.
So let me ask you this.
After hearing you guys say we lost to the Cardinals, and then y'all to do the same thing.
So let me ask you this. Back in the 90s and stuff, you used to tell the Eagle fans, hey, it's all about the championships, right? That's what you said, and the Eagle fans didn't want to hear it. But now you were sitting there saying it's not about the championships; it's about the regular season.
No,
you're the one that's actually.
Now I will say some people
you're the
were
one
like that,
actually doing what you're projecting Eagle fans.
Bro.
Okay, wait.
Projecting on us.
Okay, how about this one, Mark? How about this one now for you? What does your 36 wins mean to you? The last 3 years.
Oh, what does it mean? It means that the Cowboys have been 95% of the way. And unfortunately, we don't have an owner that, I hate to say it, is more Howie-esque.
But he's saying he's hanging around the rim.
He's hanging around the rim. But see, it's like this. If I'm going to fly to California, I don't want to have, it's a 3,000-mile flight. I don't want to have 3,010 miles worth of gas. I want a little extra in case we got some bad weather and we got to go around, so I'm not crashing to earth. And that's the thing that, sitting here listening to you, Stealthy, before your show, and you're talking about bringing back Ndamukong Suh and having that guy as a backup in the rotation and things. And see, that's the kind of thing that matters. When you can have guys that can spell, or if somebody gets injured, or give a break to your starters, that second-tier guy is everything. And the Cowboys, we got a lot of really great players. Between Micah and CD and Dak and, Tyron Smith and stuff. But once you get past that layer, you get down to guys that, are they really an NFL player? And that's where you lose. To your guys' credit, for the most part, you guys have had lots of depth. You've been able to go deep when you lose people.
That's where he's jealous of the Eagles right now.
Well, I can't say that. You're right. I'm not going to hide that. Every Cowboy fan will admit.
The Eagles actually go out and do so. Oh, you Eagles are talking about your Eagles again. Well, yeah, we have stuff to talk about.
I hate to break this to Mark, but they're soft on defense. They got to change the mentality on that side of the ball.
But still, here's the thing.
They're soft.
Dallas isn't 95% there.
They're not.
Like this idea that they're 95%. You're like 65%.
Okay, and so let me see if I get this straight.
Playoffs, Mark.
I hear what you're saying,
Playoffs
but you know what?
are important.
I hear what you guys are saying. I'm getting double teamed here. There are questions on the
Should be
Dallas
used to
Cowboys.
that.
There
You're a
are
Cowboy
questions
fan.
on the Dallas Cowboys, but I can say this much, that right now, worrying about 95% new offense is not one of them. The coach, who nobody seems to know what he's doing or what his job role is, we don't have that problem right there. Having possibly rookie cornerbacks starting on a defense, as Xander, shout out to Xander, pointed out earlier, was
Stop talking
31st
about
in
him.
pass defense. We don't have that problem. So
No.
your team, as
But you
arrogant as you guys are, you guys
Arrogant,
could
so
easily
arrogant.
be 12-5, and you could very easily be, like I predict, 8-9.
Okay, but what does that have to do with the fact that the Dallas Cowboys cannot win the playoffs, and your quarterback, regardless of who they put around him, cannot win a big game? My quarterback can. What does that have to do with it? Oh, we got young guys. Yes, we got some questions. We're installing new off. All those things are true, but guess what? Our team can get into the playoffs and actually win.
Hey, Mark, do you know,
that-
can I tell you,
hold
Mark,
up, then.
all kidding aside,
All kidding aside.
can I tell you why you guys struggle in the playoffs?
Weak-minded.
Well, here, the year that the Eagles went to the playoffs in 22, they did not rely on Jalen Hurts one time in the postseason except for the Super Bowl. That Giants game, the 49er game, they won with Reddick. They won with defense. They won with running the ball. You guys make a focus of Dak being the centerpiece.
And
Get
that's
this,
the
Troy
problem.
Aikman was never the centerpiece
I agree with
on
that
those
100%.
championship teams. He was the third guy in that huddle next to Aikman and Smith. The more that they put the pressure on him to win that game,
mistakes.
it is completely, and I love Josh Allen, everyone knows it. It's so Josh Allen-ish that you're relying on that quarterback to get you across the finish line, like in Baltimore with Lamar. You can't rely on your quarterback exclusively to get you there unless you're the guy in Kansas City.
I think Dallas has a big problem on offense this year because I think they don't have a running game. And I think they're very one-dimensional offensively. I mean, I'm sorry, but Zeke Elliott, I'd rather have Kenneth.
He's a relic.
You know what?
I mean,
you have a point there. You have a point there that you don't think we can win because we don't have a running back. I'm going to say I don't think that you can win because you ain't got a quarterback that's going to work with the play calling that's going to come out of Kellen Moore.
I don't know why. I mean, that's just an assumption. You're assuming.
Oh, bro, I'm telling you, that's oil and water, man. When you get into those combination routes that he's going to do, or when you have 3 curl routes coming back at you and everything else, and Jalen Hurts, after his first read, is usually ready to roll and just run.
I think
you're going to see more turnovers on top of the 15 he had last year.
So you think he leads?
So you think you think he's going to have over 15 turnovers?
See, here's the problem. Here, let me get. Okay, no, actually, let's actually no. Just listen to me for a second. This is not the trash talking Eagles suck or anything else. This is real football talk. What Mike McCarthy did when he came back with this offense, okay, he basically said we're going to change about a third of it to start out with. And what they were going to do was to speed this up. Instead of doing the combination routes where the wide receiver is reading and the quarterback's reading and wide receiver, if those two guys aren't on the same page, the quarterback is thrown to a spot and you end up getting the turnovers. These plays take longer to develop. And that was part of the problem. What Mike McCarthy did with this offense was it's going to be 1, 2, 3. We're getting rid of this football right now and taking out some of the complexities. And if you're Jalen Hurts, who's now going into this offense for the first time and now having to read combination routes where his first instinct is to run, there's going to be a long learning curve. And I'm not trying to do this as a hater. Even though I hate the Eagles, I'm telling you, it's not going to be easy. Justin Herbert had a hard time trying to adjust to it, which is why he was definitely gone right away.
Well, I think the offensive coordinator has a job to take the quarterback that he has and make it work with the offense. You can't just throw a guy in there and force him to do something. So if that's the case, that falls on the offensive coordinator. But I don't know that that's going to be the case. The case with you guys is you don't have the horses. You don't have the running game to help Dak Prescott. That is going to be.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying on there, but see,
kidding aside here, but get this, Mark. Here's the thing that you don't have compared to what the Eagles have. Say a play dynamic is not working in a series, right?
Mm-hmm.
Say it's not. Well, they can hand it off to Barkley. They could throw a slant to Goddard. They could throw an inseam to AJ. They have, or go to Devontae, plus the top 3 offensive line. Their talent can overcome play calling deficiencies. It did a year ago with 11 wins. Hey, that
did it the last 6 weeks of the season?
Wait a minute. No. Wait a minute. They won 11 games in a train wreck year. Can you imagine what the Jets would do with 11 wins? They'd be holding victory parades in the Legion of Canyons.
Wait a minute. So wait. Hold up. Let me see if I get this straight. The Eagles, coming off a Super Bowl, predicted to go back to a Super Bowl, did everything, bringing in Kevin Byards and everything else to go ahead and get to the Super Bowl. They crash and burn, get 11 wins, and you're congratulating them.
No.
The Cowboys, who did nothing, lost more players than they replaced. We get 12 wins, and you said we suck.
You backed into that NFC title. They were 10-2. They fell apart. That was a season where they imploded.
He's more worried about 12 wins than play.
So you're admitting they imploded, but yet you're congratulating them for getting 11 wins.
He's more worried about 12 wins.
You can't have it both ways, bro. You can't say they imploded, but they got 11 wins and it was great.
You got beat by a football team that threw the ball 14 times in a game. I would have swore I was watching Lehigh versus Temple in 1926.
Bro.
They blew you off the field with 14 passes.
It's not like you know what the problem is with the Cowboys is position flex. No, seriously. Stephen Jones, and the next time you have Stephen Jones on him, tell him stop with the fucking position flex, okay? They think a safety, he can be a linebacker. He can sometimes.
That's all your problems.
No. In the same sense, you've got Micah Parsons, who's a linebacker. He's a pretty good defensive end, but he's not really a defensive end. They take a defensive end and they say, well, he can play tackle too. And if you're a tackle, you can play one technique. And Dan, you've been a one technique guy. Is it the same as being a tackle?
No, it's not. I want to ask Philly this. Philly. So to going along with Mark Holmes here talking about Kellen. Do we not agree here? Let me throw this at you here.
Okay.
He's not going to install the Dak Prescott offense in Philly. So he's going to have to create, as you just said, an offense that fits the quarterback and who he is. So he's never, and Jalen said 95% of this offense is brand new. Okay. So he's implementing an offense that he's never had a professional moment where he had a play call in a game. This is all new to him. This is new to him and the quarterback. How long do you think that takes to mesh? Last year they had 17 weeks and didn't make it happen.
Well, I think oftentimes when you get a new coordinator, it does take you a few weeks. It does take you some time to get going. That is perfectly true. And that's why you have to use Saquon Barkley early and often in the beginning of the year, because you want him to help get that offense going. But when I hear 95% new, to me, it's not saying that it's something he's never done before. I take it as it's 95% new of what we were doing last year. The responsibility of the coach and that coordinator is to take the things that Jalen Hurts does well and incorporate it into that offense. I think a bad coach is a coach that doesn't use the talent that's around him. A good coach will utilize that talent. So if Kellen Moore comes out and tries to make him Dak Prescott or Justin Herbert, then we've got a big problem at offensive coordinator. But I don't think from everything I've heard, that's the case. And I didn't take the 95% new offense to mean it's something he's never done. They don't know if he could do it. To me, I took it to mean 95% different from what they were doing last year.
How'd you take that, Mark?
Let me say this much, okay? Generally speaking, there's only so many plays, okay? And it's not necessarily that the play is different as much as it is the terminology. when you change up the terminology and stuff, you may, and this is where you fucked him up, because he's been in 4 different systems. They're not calling the plays the same way. So now he's got to spend all summer trying to learn all of these play calls from Kellen Moore. And I sit here and I think there were some things that you guys did really, really good that you might want to look at and say, let's hold on to those, because Jalen Hurts does this. If AJ Brown really, really good, let's supplement that. But you don't go through and just start the whole thing over. But the funniest thing is this, is as much as you guys talk about how bad the Cowboys are at choking and how bad and pathetic, Dak Prescott, he sucks in the playoffs, right?
Yes, absolutely.
He's a choker in the playoffs, right?
Giant choker.
Giant choker.
Giant choker.
So let me see if I get this straight.
One of the biggest ever.
You said, let's get the choker's play caller. That'll work.
Because the play caller was making him better than he was. His best year was under the play caller. See, this is the problem. You blame Kellen Moore for Dak Prescott's failures.
Sure.
But last year, if one thing showed you everything, was the fact that a number 2 seed went out there and choked bad.
Let's
without
back this up
Kellen.
for a second.
Oh, Mike McCarthy.
Let's back this up for a second here,
He's clicking in the offense. A lot of short passes. Yeah, short passes. Pick 6, mother humper. That's what you had with the Dallas Cowboys and their offense. Kellen Moore wasn't on the field.
You know what's
for
funny?
Green Bay.
Yeah,
why did you lose for Green Bay? See, he can't answer the question.
No,
Why
because you won't shut your fucking mouth.
Because I know what you're going to do. Well, in 1932, when I was in high school making chicken wings, we had a situation. And let me tell you, good people, I'm Mark Holmes, and this is the Joe Boone Sports Network. We were going to be here, and when you have a cat and the cat eats, then it's no longer hungry. That's why Mike McCarthy gets on the field and does this and that. Come on, just say it. The guy's a choker. He has to prove himself.
Can
Mark,
I
I got to hand it to you, though. Here, Dallas's defense will have a learning curve as well. Dallas was ranked 5th in D last year. No DT. Overshown Diggs.
No linebackers.
Coming back from an ACL, Dallas won't finish top 10 on defense.
Go ahead, Mark.
Defensive line is suspect as well.
Do
you agree?
I got it all out.
Rob.
I'm feeling better.
You got it out now?
Yeah, go.
You sure you got it out now?
Yeah, I'm gonna just shut up.
But hey, look, you do have a point. That's one thing I keep saying. So, they do blame in Philly Brian Johnson for Jalen's failures. Okay? So if you're going to blame Brian Johnson for Jalen's failures, you're blaming Kellen Moore for Dak's failures, or not blaming him for his failures?
What I was trying to say and didn't get a chance to, because he said that Dak Prescott's best years were, of course, with Kellen Moore. But
37.
Dak, well, hold on. Yeah, 37. 37, yes. He had 36. One of the lowest interception
number 1
rates
seed,
and
right?
stuff this year.
And number 1 seed?
Yeah, but you know what's funny is this last year where we literally had ass, where he had 23 TDs and 15 interceptions, and everybody trashed him and talked about how bad he was with the turnovers. Mind you, that's the exact same number that Jalen Hurts' best season has ever been, ironically, with the same amount of interceptions. 23 and 15 last year. I will say that Mike McCarthy, with a new offense, which took about 5 weeks before they really started getting it going, because those first couple of weeks we had people saying, oh my God, maybe we screwed up letting go Kellen Moore. Once they got into a groove, that offense was flying. And you cannot dispute that.
Until they played Green Bay.
Mark.
Until they played Green Bay. And until you played Tampa Bay.
Here, you are wrong, my guy.
We were already done.
Best year was with Moore. 2 seed.
He had 4,902 yards, 1 yard short.
Philly 500, my dude.
My man, Jameson Smith, shout out to you.
One other caveat, which will go back to the knowledge that you actually get from Dan Sileo. We had a much better running game that year, too. Mind you, Our running game was ass last year.
You had a great offense that year that Dak choked.
Well, you had Zeke actually. Zeke had a pretty good year, and that was Tony Pollard's breakout year.
Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Cedric Wilson, Gallup was healthy.
So,
you had a run game.
So was that Kellen Moore or was that the personnel?
No, it was Dak Prescott. Because as soon as Kellen Moore left, you had the same problem. I mean,
we didn't have the same problem. We didn't have the same personnel. We had one good receiver.
If the one good receiver
and a young tight end that's coming in a running game that was not good, and yet he still had 36 TDs and 9 interceptions. Nah, bro. Nah, Billy. You're full of shit now. You're the same guy that said that your secondary is going to be better than the Dallas Cowboys. Enough said.
If you remove Kellen Moore and the same thing happens, then it's common sense that it's probably not Kellen Moore.
Mark, here's something that a lot of folks don't know what's going to happen this year as a consultant. Bill Belichick is behind the scenes with the Cowboys as a consultant this year when it comes to the coaching staff on the sidelines and it comes to the defense with Mike Zimmer. Him and Zimmer are dear friends, and him and Zimmer have been talking. So you've got Bill Belichick as a consultant with the Dallas Cowboys, and I was just curious.
Too bad you don't got Tom Brady as a quarterback, though.
Oh, man, I think I teed that up.
Dak Prescott has to prove, just like Kirk Cousins, that he can win in a big game, in a big moment. And until he does that, you've got to doubt Brady.
Mark, what do you make of having Belichick as I don't know where the hell to say after you don't have Tom Brady. Okay.
What do I think? You know what? I tell you what. If the Joneses are actually listening to somebody, I don't care anybody. Just let them listen to anybody at this point. I'm okay with that. I like that fact that you had a guy who has had that much success that maybe he tells them, you know what? You need to get some more players in here. That you don't have enough to win it all. So I'm okay with that. I think that's a great thing.
I think it's the first time that they've done something like that in some time, and that was a recommendation.
What's that shirt behind Mark, by the way?
Oh, I forgot to have the chicken shirt. See, I had my chicken shirt last time.
Yeah, I saw that shirt. That was stupid.
Kind of like Philly. That's our new center, Cooper Beebe.
Oh, yeah.
The kid from K-State. I actually like that kid.
Yeah, I do too. It was their best pick.
Yeah.
You remember Mark, that time you did a video and you said that Micah Parsons is Lawrence Taylor? You remember that? That was
still could be.
Never.
Still could be.
Stop doing that. Stop that.
I tell you what. You know, I heard somebody actually say the Cowboys were able to get themselves a couple of defensive linemen, that he would probably get about 20 sacks.
Yes, but until that time, he'll always run out of gas by the end of the year.
Oh, I agree. I agree 100% because he's too undersized to be doing that all by himself.
I have a question for you, Mark, and this is a serious question. You got 3 guys that you got to pay, 3 guys with contract situations. Do you think they pay all 3 of these guys? And if not, which guy's most likely to go?
Here's the thing. Let's see. What you guys don't seem to understand is
I just asked the question.
I just did. I said they're going to pay all 3, and it's watch.
Because CeeDee Lamb, you know what, is overhyped in the slot. He doesn't go against. He goes against safety.
I hear what. Okay, yeah, but you know what? Here's a coach's job.
Ridiculous.
Here's what a coach's job is. If I can find a way to get you to make yardage and make touchdowns, I don't care where I put you. If it's in the backfield and you're going to go ahead and give me 1,600 yards, fine. I'll put your ass in the backfield. That is coaching, Dan. That is coaching. You know what the best thing you do in football is? You go where people aren't, or you go for the mismatches. And if I can put him in the slot and create a mismatch, I'm going to do that. That's what.
Hey, Philly, I'd like to see AJ.
I believe you're the one that said maybe you need to do the same thing with
AJ. AJ in that slot a little bit.
I have no issue with moving guys around. I don't disagree with anything Mark just said there until he said good coaching. Because once again, it comes back to, well, if you have such great coaching, why can't you win in the playoffs?
You know what? What's funny is here's what's so funny, that as much as you arrogant son of bitches out there that think that you guys are God's gift to the NFL,
nobody said
your team is in the exact same position that we are in, buddy. Your coach is on the hot seat. Yes or no?
You didn't answer the. So no, you did say you're going to pay all three.
You will. I was going to explain to you how you can actually do it.
But if
see,
one
the problem
was to
is,
go, who is it going to be? That's what I was asking. If there's one that does go, who's most likely to not remain?
Here's what's going to happen. Okay, if I am, the capologist, the way I look at this is this: the Cowboys, for one, don't pay anybody till their contract's over with.
Which is a mistake.
Okay, which maybe not, because you can look at Joe Burrow's contract at $55 million right now, but because the salary cap went up by $35 million, that's actually the same amount of money is $59 million this year. You understand inflation? Yep. Your money goes further. So paying them next year, if they
let me guess, that's Bidenomics.
That's not Bidenomics. That's inflation. Okay. The red brick house, when it was sold originally, was $200 200 years ago, and now it's worth a hell of a lot more. It's because things change. When Troy Aikman signed his 8-year, $44 million contract, people said you can't pay a quarterback $5.5 million a year. That's unheard of, and we know how that goes up. Okay, the Cowboys will take that $55 million, take that hit this year. They'll get CeeDee Lamb done. They'll wait on Micah Parsons until next year because his number is only $5 million now.
Can I stop you for one moment here?
Go ahead.
Here, let me. This is from a broadcaster who's learning you guys and your magic and how you do this.
Our magic.
Let me ask you something. When you're talking Cowboys, doesn't it get to a particular point where you just have to stop? Because the things you can say is we have great helmets, nice uniforms, great stadium. But when it comes to winning, you have to stop there. Doesn't that bug you that you can never beat him in a conversation? Because since 2000, the Eagles have been the best team in the NFC East. And dude, this is a guy from 35,000 feet, observer here.
Damn.
How do you Cowboy guys not? Do you just ignore, like some Eagle fans do, that 1-6 meltdown that you just ignored the last 30 years? How do you get? I'm curious. How do you get around that?
What do you mean? What 1-6? What are you talking
How do you get around the last 30 years?
1-6.
It's called mass delusion.
No, where are you getting 1-6? Because I know you're getting old there, Dan. I know you played one technique like me. Your brain worked the way it should.
I'm just asking how, because some Eagle fans, they ignore that. Okay, and you can't ignore that. And I don't think
ignoring the problems right now with Jalen Hurts in the offense.
But listen, there's this microcosm. There's this micro. Yours is macro. It's 30 years. How do you, when you're talking to your folks, do you guys go like this? Hey man, Cowboys are gonna have a really great year. We got a really good looking roster. I think Mike McCarthy's Super Bowl guy in the division. And then when you start going, how far can you go in the playoffs? You go, I don't know. Is that how you win it?
They don't worry about it. You know what?
As always, I'm the butt of the jokes. I know why I'm brought on here.
No.
How
do you continue?
Here goes again.
Hey, it's better than being a Jets fan.
That's a given.
Hey, listen, Phil, here's the difference between a Cowboy. Here's the difference between a Cowboy fans and Eagle fans, and this is the truth.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, he doesn't even acknowledge the playoffs, right? Back when we had Andy Reid and we had Donovan McNabb, and we went to 4 straight NFC Championship games. Do you know what we used to say? We used to say our season doesn't begin until the NFC Championship game. Until you get to that game and win it. Nothing else matters.
You make it sound like the Cowboys have never been there, bro.
Nothing else matters.
Okay.
With him, he doesn't care because he can't talk about it. See, we hold our team accountable. We say, no, look, you could win 13 games, 12 games every year, Donovan McNabb, Andy Reid. But until you win that NFC Championship game, nothing else matters. And that's the difference. They can't do that, and we do it all the time. That's why he continues to get knocked out and lose these debates.
And yet your team sat their ass home on the couch with us.
All right, guys.
Yeah, after going to the Super Bowl the year before. And then winning one a couple years before that.
Yes.
Okay, let's try to do something here. There's 2 things we have potentially on the table here as we end this thing here. potentially in Arlington or in Philly or at Cowboy camp when they scrimmage the Rams, we'll all hook up.
Perhaps. Yeah.
Perhaps. What is that shit? Are you a man or are you a little bitch?
Hey, who's the one? Wait, who's the one that said my wife won't let me go to Philly? My wife won't let me go.
2 years I've tried to get you to Philly, and you say,
somebody get me a bucket. My pussy's dripping. Come on, man.
Bro.
Get the hell out of here with that crap.
Bro.
You're so full of crap.
Maybe,
you're the one that wasn't allowed to go.
Potentially.
I
don't know. Because I'm chicken shit. I am literally talking about going across from one coast to the other, and you're like, we'll see, maybe.
We'll see.
What the fuck is that?
All right.
You know what that's like? That's like when you're.
You act like I have to.
Mark, you held up well today.
Philly, literally, that's kind of like when your wife says, we have something to talk about, and you know it's some shit that you did. Okay, you know that's
Philly,
some shit that
we
you
can't
did.
do the
It's never anything that she did wrong.
My wife said
just
no.
admit it.
My wife said
Philly,
I can't.
Just admit it.
go.
You don't want to come out of your house. You are
go.
comfortable in
My
your
wife
little
said
man
I
cave
can't
with your big
go.
fat head behind you, sitting behind there, melting down, cheering on your team.
Shirt about
you're,
me, Mark.
You're
make another shirt.
Being around people, and you're scared.
Make another
scared that your team is gonna not show up, and you have to do the walk of shame. Just admit it, son.
All right.
You know, because the Cowboys keep kicking that ass, be it in the regular season.
Dude, you guys have not won shit.
You know what I wish for? I wish that we would play each other in the playoffs.
Make a bet for the playoffs, and we got it. Make a bet for the playoffs. Let's do playoff bet.
All right.
Real bet. When it really matters.
I'm in,
and
bro.
All right, I'm in too, motherfucker. And I'm going to double moonwalk that ass.
No, I don't do head shit.
You know it.
Because I got a lumpy head. Y'all don't want to see this lumpy head right here. Okay?
I'm going to show you guys, because I'm going to tell you guys something here. Where's the Super Bowl this year, Mark?
We're New Orleans. Great place to go.
Hold on.
Mark,
I
better
get 4
look up
tickets
Super
a
Bowl
year.
tickets.
I get 4 tickets a year. We get nice look, Mark. We get nice little bags. See it like here, right?
Yeah.
If we make it to one of these events, we'll all be on Radio Row.
Okay.
I'm in.
Okay.
I'm in. What are you scared, Mark? Why did you not commit fast enough? You didn't say yes fast enough to him. Why have you not committed?
What
are you
I
scared?
said I'm there.
You didn't say it quick enough. You didn't say it loud enough.
You know what?
Come on, Mark, hurry up. What the hell are you doing?
Dan
you have
invites
to ask
me to
your wife,
anything,
what are you
I'm
doing?
there. I'm there. Okay, let me say from this point on, standing thing. Dan says, we got a gig on Radio Row. We got a thing at the game. I'm there. You don't have to ask. It's not a question, okay? I will make it work. It's not going to be,
it's not a question until about 10 minutes later when he goes, hey, guys, Mark Holmes with your buddy, Cowboy Joe Boo. My wife just said I can't go.
Cowboys report to camp.
No, bro.
My wife said no.
Cowboys report to
camp
on July 25th. And
you got the official date?
Eagles report on also July 25th. So we're about 40 some days out from
and
these
they'll
guys
be practicing, I believe it's either the 7th or the 9th with the Rams of August. Okay. I will be there that whole week. I'll be, because I've got some work to do in LA with my daughter and things. So I will be close by. I know you're north of there about 3 or 4 hours or so. Do I have to drive to your town? Do you want to send me your address? Do I have to drive to your house?
What are you gonna show for me? Do you got a SUV?
I'm like an hour from that.
I'll meet you at a bar in your town. How about that?
I'm 8 or 9 hours away, bro, but I'll go.
That's to Vermont, bro. Just
I know you were. We all saw
man too.
We all saw your safe house. In
you
Vermont,
have some work
Mark.
you need to be fixed.
Everybody saw your safe house in Vermont.
I'll bring the tools.
Oh, we saw that safe house. Mark, taking pictures. Look at the back.
Hey, man, stop it. Hey, Philly, do me a favor. Tell the folks how they can find you.
I got to take a picture of me in the safe house.
Oh, God.
Tell how they can find you, brother.
Type in Philly 500. It'll come up.
Mark, tell them how
know.
they can find you.
Bro, I've been looking for you for a while.
Just type
to
in
take a
Vermont
shit.
Safe House.
Cowboy Jobu. Jobu Sports Report on all platforms.
Missing.
Just type it in, you'll find me.
Wait a minute. I thought you would be like missing persons. I'm kidding. Hey, hey guys. Mark, good stuff. Guys, you guys killed it. Look at who won this thing, you guys?
Of course.
Oh, we know how this is going to go. Every freaking week, it's Mark Holmes gets owned by Philly 500. Mark Holmes gets punked by Philly 500. We know I'm on an Eagles channel. And let me say one final thing to the Eagles front office. Your team stinks.
Hey, I have front office listens.
Yes.
We need Kelly Green full time. Let's get it going.
Hey, let me show you one thing here, man. So get this. Xander's coming up here in a couple minutes. Like, who the fuck is Xander? Like, check this out here. So look at this. They're now doing this, Philly. They're writing columns now. Xander Krause confirms. And I'm going like, who the fuck is Xander Krause? I mean, like he's confirming that, like, check this out. So it's now going around because the Eagles are not happy with me with some of the comments that I say, or they're not happy with the show because of some of the things I say. Xander Krause confirms. Excuse me, bud. Like, who's this guy?
Xander's big time now. Xander's big time.
I want to see Xander do a video and say, who the hell is Dan Sileo?
He does it all the time. Anyway, guys, I appreciate it. Guys, you guys were awesome. Thank you so much, man.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Hit the like button. Right. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Valle Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Stills National Football Show. Appreciate you guys. I don't know what happens, but you guys force me into defending the Eagles, and then I spend my time dissecting them. It's ridiculous, actually. I mean, hey, how many likes? 200 and how many likes? God, you guys killed it. Wow. Let's see if we can get to 300, man. Shit, man. I think we got a shot at 300 today. 218. Way to go, man. Guys are mauling it today. Here's DFW. I want to make this thing a little bit balanced here. We get to see the real Jalen Hurts this year. No tush push and an offense he can't understand because the game plan has been dumbed down for him all these years. Hurts will implode this year. Hey, I will say this, though. Mark Holmes had a point. So wait a minute here. And you know how I do this. You blame Brian Johnson for Jalen Hurts' issues that he had last year, right? You said that Dak Prescott was a choke artist and he wasn't a great quarterback. Kellen Moore was his OC. So you hired the choke artist offensive coordinator for a guy in Jalen Hurts. Make that work. Make that work for me. Make that work for me. Okay? Make that work for me. How do you dissect it one way or the other? And Prescott's had more impressive numbers in the passing game than what Jalen's had, like ever. And again, I'm not ripping it. I'm asking to make that work, how that benefits, and Kellen Moore benefits Jalen Hurts more than he benefited Dak Prescott. Dak still choked after Kelly. Okay, so the common denominator, in your opinion, Prince, was that no matter how good the play calling was in Dallas, where they had like a number one offense, and they had components, and they were a better team. I think they were a better offense 3 years ago. But when you took that coordinator away, McCarthy took over the role, still put up great numbers. But once again, the common denominator was once they got into the postseason, they failed. The Cowboys. Is that correct? Okay, I can land on that. Because that is true. The one common denominator is still Dak in Dallas. Whether it's Kellen Moore or Mike McCarthy, it's still the same result in the postseason. So if you're going to land on that, you can land. You can. Prince, you can land on that. Sills, well, okay. So was it really Kellen in Dallas or was it Dak? Doesn't 2023 tell you it was Dak? Right now on June 12th, it does. Right now it does. Green Bay also took them apart offensively. And I thought they'd get this. Yale, I don't know how Dan Quinn got that Washington job after that poor display on defense, too. They got the shit kicked out of them. Green Bay was running up and down the field like they were a lawnmower. How did Dan Quinn get that Washington job? It blows my brains out. How did he get that gig? Dak could throw for 6,000 yards, and Dak will be called a choker until he wins a playoff game. DFW, I'm gonna concede on one thing. There's no way on the planet that Dak Prescott is not the most scrutinized and the most analyzed player in American sports, next to LeBron. No matter what he does, unless he wins a championship, he is always going to be considered Danny White or Tony Romo until he wins a title. You're the Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback. You're on the most visible television show every year. There's no question he and LeBron will always be criticized. They're going to be criticized more for failure, okay, than the successes, and they're going to be cheered on for their successes. LeBron's won 4 titles, and 3 titles of those were in 3 different cities for 3 different franchises, and he was a Finals MVP. No one's ever done that. Nobody cares about that, though. Nobody cares. All right. It's a good comment, though, that Mark Holmes had. Let's bring in our friend Xander Krause, who watched that whole thing.
What's up, Big Sills?
Xander, who the fuck are you? I'm getting quoted. Xander Krause confirms now. Dude, kudos to you, brother. Holy shit, man. People are like, giving you love now around the country now. And that's a testament to Birds 365. Way to go, bro.
That's a testament to Big Sills. Big Sills will make anybody a star. I appreciate it, brother.
Absolutely. So what'd you make of that whole thing with Mark Holmes and with Philly 500?
Gosh. I was in tears. I'm cracking up behind my screen. When 500 dropped that comment, his pussy is dripping or whatever the heck he said, I was losing it over here. I'm trying to figure out how to get that into my thumbnail without violating YouTube's policies or whatever the heck they got. So that was really an all-time segment right there. But I got to give an easy win there to Philly 500. He is moonwalking Mark Holmes. But let me say this about Mark Holmes. I know everybody's not a fan, or they say they're not fans of Mark Holmes. I love Mark Holmes.
Me too.
For him to come into the Thunderdome every week and to take that and to hold his own and to that's a guy that I can respect. Right. I might not like his football team, but I can respect that. So I'm good. Mark Holmes is the man. I'm good with that. That was a great segment, though.
How about this, though? He did come up with a comment, and he said this. So everyone's blaming Brian Johnson for Jalen Hurts' ills last year playing the quarterback position. And then he turns around and then you turn around and you hire a guy who you call a choke artist in Dak, and you hire his coordinator. Prince brought up the fact, but Sills, the same common denominator is that Dak had the same result, whether it was with Kellen Moore or Mike McCarthy. It was still the same nuclear meltdown in the postseason. Do you land on that pod because it's Dak? Dak struggles in the postseason like a Kirk Cousins?
Well, it is true, right? I mean, he has had the same result with different guys. So, but I will say, I mean, if we're going to be optimistic on it, Dak did have a good offense with Kellen Moore in Dallas. Now, they had the running game. They had a lot of other components, but I'm optimistic on our offense and what Kellen can be. My only fear is that he's not going to use Jalen for what Jalen is. But, look, I agree with 500, what 500 said, where it's like you're bringing in a coordinator, 95% new to Jalen Hurts, but he's going to tailor this offense to Jalen Hurts. So maybe also – Kellen Moore might have grown as a coach as well. You learn things each year. You get better at this. He's a young guy. He's a good offensive mind. I think everybody can agree with that. And it'll be interesting to see, man. He's got a cast of characters here in Philadelphia that any offensive coordinator would salivate over. And what he does with it, I'm curious to see. But right? I mean, it's almost like, Kellen, if you mess this up with this offense and this amount of playmakers, you might as well just hang it up. Because this is a dream scenario for him. And I think the Eagles offense is going to be great this year.
Do you know that last year, in my opinion, it exposed Matt Patricia? Because, hey, maybe he wasn't a good head coach in Detroit with those 3 Super Bowl rings, and you saw what he did a year ago. I would never hire that guy as a defensive coordinator anywhere because he was not good last year. And like you said, I think that guy has a tough time unless it's a Patriot type connection guy ever getting a job again in the National Football League, because I'm not hiring that guy.
Yeah,
hey, let me ask you
good point.
A couple questions here on this one too before we get into some of the other ones here. You think that 1964 Calvin Johnson all-time single season receiving yards will go down this year with either A.J. Brown or with Tyreek, or maybe even Diggs down in Houston?
Well, it can't be Justin Jefferson now.
No, I just don't think Minnesota. I don't. Then again,
no, because
he had 1,100 yards in 8 games.
They don't have a vehicle to get him the football. I mean, I don't know who's going to be their quarterback.
J.J. McCarthy.
Is he going to start though?
Over Sam Darnold, I don't know. Sam
Darnold's
Darnold's your
actually
guy.
a guy that, I mean, I wonder about him coming out of that. He had a year with Kyle Shanahan out there. I wonder, because he was a pretty highly regarded prospect coming out of college. Now, he hasn't lived up to the hype, obviously, but I wonder if he can. I mean, I don't think J.J. McCarthy is going to shoe in over him. He can probably get Jefferson the football better. But what's the record, Sills? Over 2,000, right? It's like 21?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. How close were we last year?
1964, Calvin Johnson's record.
1964?
Yeah, 1964 is the
the
single season.
Okay.
It's the single season by Calvin Johnson, Megatron in Detroit. That's how many yards. That's the all-time single season number.
Yeah, with Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it'll be beat. No. I mean, we are moving into an era of football where it will eventually
There's
be
an
beat.
extra game though now. He played in 16. So
Yeah, and the league is far more pass happy now than they were when even Calvin Johnson, and that wasn't that long ago. I mean, he retired 8 years ago or 9 years ago? Yeah.
Hey, you want to hear this? Here's a crazy stat about Calvin Johnson and Tom Brady. Tom Brady started playing, I think, 1 or 2 years before Calvin Johnson. He spanned the entire career of Calvin Johnson and played longer. Johnson went to the Hall of Fame in the same time frame during Brady's entire 25-year career. And in that 25-year career, Johnson played a whole career, went to the Pro Football Hall of Fame all in that same time, in the length of Tom Brady's career.
It's amazing how long Tom Brady stuck around. Father Time really didn't, and you could argue he probably could have kept going.
He led the league in attempts and completions the final year. He had 26 touchdowns and 9 picks. And everyone goes, he sucked. I go, no, the Bucs defense blew out loud. All right. I want to go to this topic here because I saw this, and this was some of the people that have been saying something about the Eagles and what they're installing now. New playbook equals slow start. Team to start fast or slow. Kellen Moore said this the other day even. We're at the beginning of this thing. And we are installing this, and we've heard all the conversation. Xander, are you how long do you think it takes for this offense? Once again, I think it's going to be a slow start. Do you think it's going to be a fast start?
No, but define slow start. I mean, I had him, what do you have him, 2-2 going into the bye week? I mean, I have them losing that first game to Green Bay. I just don't think it's a good spot for the Eagles. I think that's a tough first opponent in Brazil with all that BS. So
Falcons next, Saints after that, Bucks, and then bye.
Yeah, Saints, no. I don't know. I mean, I will say I'm worried that Jalen was acting like it's, like I said yesterday, we're 6 months into this thing. You got to start picking this thing up. You're only 80 days out or 86 days out, I think we are, from that opener. So how much are you going to make progress in 86 days when really you've had 150 days, already to learn it? Now, there's just not much time to implement, right? I mean, there's not a lot of on-field activity. There's not a lot of on-field work for the offense. So you really got to make a lot of hay in this training camp. But
I think they got to get together.
They'll be all right. Look, Kellen Moore has to understand that there's a ramp up period as well for the offense where keep it simple, stupid a little bit to start, do what you need to do to win ball games and keep ramping it up, keep adding on to it as you figure out and defenses start to change what they're doing to stop you.
See, I think DFW, one thing these guys did say is that, when you have a new offense here, one thing under Jalen Hurts, dude, that RPO is a simplistic offense. It's not a complicated offense. You're installing a very complicated offense where everybody, they've slowed so much that everybody and even the rookies were looking good against guys who are $25 million a year guys, and they were looking good against them because, again, I think it's got a lot to do with them not knowing what to do. Now, you're installing this. Dude, they're not installing anything in Kansas City. They're not installing anything in Houston. They're not installing anything in Green Bay. You're putting a brand new offense in. That's got to take half the year.
Yeah, it's one of my fears because even when we went to the Super Bowl, that was year 2 with both of those coordinators. Now I wonder how much the gap is closed because of the experience we have with these coordinators. Like if it took us 2 years to figure it out with Steichen and Gannon, how quick can you figure it out
That's a
and
great point.
how much does the experience of the coaches close that gap? Is
That's
it
a
1
great
year
point.
or is it right? So that's that's one of the biggest things I'm watching. But you're
right. Steichen and Gannon had 1 year earlier. Then they had
Steichen actually had a little bit less.
They had 2 years to implement their offense and defense. No coordinator has had that since those two, right?
Yeah, but now keep in mind, Shane Steichen picked it up pretty quick.
He did 2-5 start, then he picked
took over
up
at 2-5. So if you want to, I mean, he was still there, but
it's a great point.
Let's just say he took over at 2-5. I'm gonna leave those 7 games out. They went what 9-8 that year, or 9-7?
9-8.
Was it still 16 games that year?
Yeah,
no, it was 17, right? Yeah. So he went what? I mean, 7-6 or whatever it was.
Well, let's see.
No, 7-3.
7-3. Yeah.
Not bad.
7-3.
Yeah. So 7-3 for him in his first year of calling plays. And then the next year, they, 14-3, they finished the season and they went
think about what he did. So they went 7-3 in that 21 season. Then they turned around and they won 14 games. Is that right? They won 14. They won 14 games. So in the time that he was a coordinator, he was 21-6. He won 21 out of 27.
They won 14 games in 22. Yeah. They won 14.
Okay, so get this. They won 21 out of 27 ball games with him as a coordinator.
He picked it up quick.
That's smoking.
Do you think Kellen Moore and Shane Steichen are in a comparable room offensive mind wise? I think they are.
That's another great question.
You could actually argue that if Kellen Moore wasn't in Dallas, where they continuously choke in the playoffs, he wouldn't be here right now. He'd be the head coach somewhere. Remember, Shane Steichen had the benefit of a team that went all the way. That wasn't all on him. Now he gets credit for the offense and stuff, but you got to have a coach, a quarterback, defense. Everybody's got to be on the same page. And they went the whole way.
I think Shane's better, and I'll tell you why. Okay. The year that Phillip Rivers was in Indianapolis, he was the OC for Frank.
Yeah.
And they pushed I forget who they pushed. May have been Cincinnati or Kansas City, even maybe one of those teams that they pushed those guys to the fourth quarter. And Phillip had a great year, and he had been came in, and Shane was the coordinator on that team with Frank. And that was a 7-step guy. No one's ever going to compare Phillip Rivers to being an RPO quarterback. So there was a guy who could take a 7-step guy and proved me wrong and went like this. Well, Sills, that's not a 7-step guy. That's right. And Sirianni was also in that room in that year. He was also there. So those guys were all working together. It was Frank, Sirianni, and it was Steichen, all working with Frank. Fast forward, he comes in here and he looks at Jalen and goes, that guy right there, I guarantee you, if Shane Steichen walked into Philadelphia right now, they would be doing exactly the same shit they did in 22 because he's not going to try to turn him into Phillip Rivers. He's not. But what they're doing now with Kellen, they're trying to turn him into a better version of Dak.
I don't think you're right with that. I really
don't.
Bro,
they're not going to run the ball with him.
Dan, wait. You just got done explaining how good of a job Steichen did by going from Phillip Rivers to Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Any good offensive mind is not going to apply Phillip Rivers' offense to Jalen Hurts. Why are you under the assumption that Kellen Moore is going to apply Dak's offense to Jalen?
They're not going to run him here. The RPO was there for them to use. They're not going to run RPO. Kellen didn't run it in Dallas. He didn't run RPO.
Jalen Hurts, though. I'm not going to make the statement he's not going to do it until I see it. I'm not, because you don't know. I mean, how would we know?
That's a brand new offense then for him, right? Okay.
For Kellen? Yeah, it was a brand new offense for Shane Steichen, too.
I believe it was.
Having a knack for play calling is having a knack for play calling.
Having a knack for play calling in in-game situation and also playing to the quarterback skill set is the two things a coordinator has to do. It's not about putting points and yards up for guys. It's about winning ball games.
Yeah, and I think Kellen Moore does have a knack for play calling. He was, listen, I hate Dallas like the next guy. When Kellen Moore was in Dallas, they had a good offense. That offense was humming. They were a tough team to beat. That's why he's part of the reason why Dak Prescott's record is what it is versus the Eagles.
Let me show you something here. In the last 3 years that Shane Steichen has been responsible for play calling in his quarterbacks, he's 30-14. The Colts were 9-8 last year. Year before that, they were 14-3 when he was calling plays in Philly, and he was 7-3 the year before that. That guy's 30-14 with two different styles of play calling. Two different styles, okay? I mean,
he's going to have Anthony Richardson back this year. That's going to be – you watch what he does with that guy. I love that Anthony
I think he's
Richardson.
a great – I think this guy's at the beginning of –
If that guy gets a coach, and I think he has a coach, that dude is it looks like a beast. Now, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we'll see how it works out. But
do you know why I was down on him? He was 51% completion percentage at Florida.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was not good in college.
I didn't
think he was not a great college player.
I did not think he was
he's
very accurate.
Become a man now, and he's really grown into the body. He's really grown into his athleticism. That's what I mean. If he has the right coach who can hone that, I think that's going to be great for him. But let me ask you this, right? So you think Kellen Moore, and this is what I think. You think Kellen Moore isn't looking at that 22 year and saying, wait, my name's Kellen Moore. I want to become a head coach in the NFL one day. Who's the nearest example that I can take of somebody who did what I want to do? It's not last year. It's 22. How can I do what Shane Steichen did to make this offense work? So if his new offense doesn't include any of the things that worked here in Philadelphia, then he's a bad offensive
Okay, well then look. Then they're going to go the direct opposite with the RPOs from a year ago to now.
I think
they're going to go back to that. You think they're going
to go to that heavy of a system? I think they might incorporate it though, especially why do we sign Saquon Barkley then if they're not at least thinking of using some of these things to help Jalen?
No,
right?
I mean, think the reason Barkley
it's all adding up. It's almost tough for me to be like, no, they're not going to do that just on speculation. I don't think so. I mean,
here's one thing Prince said. Sills said that Shane wasn't calling plays, the quarterback. He wasn't.
That's actually really true. It's almost Jalen Hurts' call every time.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. He's not a play caller because he snaps the ball and he reads the end or he reads the safety and decides, do I run? Do I hand it off or do I throw? Run, pass option. It's on the quarterback. You're calling a particular RPO to a strength, right side, left side, formations, some motion, but it is the play caller is the quarterback. It's decision-making by the quarterback. When you have a 7-step guy, you have to have a pre-snap read on the safety or moving them around with your head to slide the defense. And you've got to have an area where you're kind of concerned where you already have a pre-snap understanding of where you want the ball to go. So you're moving people over here or in the middle of the field. You have to know that. So when you're snapping the ball, that quarterback or coach and that coordinator is helping you. Hey, run a wide 38 with a gimp with a post. That guy's going to know I have a pre-snap read. It's the strong safety. That's different than RPO. It's completely different. Completely different. When you're talking about Shane Steichen, that's why Shane, he took that style. He took the Jalen Hurts offense, and Anthony Richardson's running it in Indianapolis right now.
Yeah, and if Shane Steichen can call plays like he did here, then that's going to work. But you know what the weird thing about that is that requires a lot of Jalen Hurts reading at the line of scrimmage.
It's a simplistic. I think that's tougher.
A simplistic read, but it's still a very quick read. It's tough to do. Right. It's not like this crazy complex thing, but he still has to make the read. Last year, he struggled with this. Why? What are the other factors that could be at play that Jalen Hurts couldn't read at the line of scrimmage nearly as well as he could with the RPO?
Because he had to read progression reads because they were dropping him back more. That's why he struggled with blitzes. You didn't have blitzes and RPOs when you're running them. You're making a split decision. Right. You're not. See, and one thing you said to me, he was in the pocket longer last year. This year,
he couldn't make decisions.
Right, he was in the year before that. He wasn't in the pocket a lot. He was either out perimeter.
Last year, especially late in that year. Well, one thing we kept talking about, and I remember being in the green room with Seth Joyner and all the guys from the post game show. watching the game with him every week. What a treat that was, watching the game with Seth and listening to how he broke down the game. Jalen went back a lot when he was not confident to the hold the ball, tuck, and run to the right. Yep. He defaulted to that a lot more versus in 22, he really got away from that because he was so quick with the ball at the line of scrimmage. Maybe it is all RPO based. And you have no choice but to go back to that. But I think the Eagles organization might wonder how sustainable that is.
That's why I don't think they're rolling the 22. A quarterback has 4 doors to go through: the front door, side door, back door, the other side door. There's 4 of them. Not every quarterback is going to use those doors. And you're right. He loves that front door to his right. And it becomes predictable. That's why teams at the end of the year, what were they doing them? They were forcing him to roll left. Yeah. And they were trying to move the string to the other side.
Throwing the ball when he's going to the left. You see he goes off body, and he really doesn't look comfortable when he does it. But this is what we're talking about here. I mean, this is the problem. RPO gets Hurts hit more. He didn't play every game in 22. That's true. I mean,
But you went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but
dude, I'll take 2 games off. You win the NFC title, I'm in.
This is where I think the business of the NFL gets in the way.
Yep. Remember what we said, you and me? Yeah. Hey, I'll take 9 years of Hurts running this. Get me to 2-3 Super Bowls versus 15 years of a guy playing like 23. That ain't going to cut it.
Yeah.
How about this one? Let's move off of him and go here. Would you have a problem with the Eagles signing Ndamukong Suh or trying to coax back Fletcher Cox?
No, not at all. I think that's maybe one of the biggest needs going into the season. You're going to rely, and I am higher on Jalen Carter than most. I know everybody's high on him. I think this guy can literally be a Hall of Fame defensive tackle. But you're going to put everything on him in year 2 and Jordan Davis losing 700 snaps from Fletcher Cox and then relying on Milton Williams and Marlon Tuipulotu. That's not a good idea. Even if they don't get a lot of snaps, you need a guy that can go in there and clog the holes. Like I like Calais Campbell. He's pretty old too. So, but somebody like that, somebody that can
15% of the snaps.
Right. Take a little bit of that load off those front guys. They're young. You got to give them that time to really grow into their bodies fully, because I don't think they are yet. How old is Jalen Carter? 20.
Oh, he's got to be 21, 22. He may have stayed all 4 years. Maybe he came out declared.
No, he didn't stay all 4 years. He was a 3-year guy.
Okay, well then he's 21.
He's 23, but he just turned 23 in April.
He must have redshirted. Okay.
He just turned 23 in April. This is a guy This is a guy that's not going to be – he's already dominant. He's already full-bodied. But when he's 25, 26 years old, he's going to be that grown man, that full body built out. That's what we need to get him to. And if we need to bring some people along for depth to get him there, I'm perfectly fine doing that.
How old is Jordan? How old is Davis?
Give me 1 second. I'll tell you.
If he might be younger. He actually might be
24, and he turned 24 in January. So he'll be 25 around the end of the year here.
And he's been in the league longer.
Yeah, well, 1 extra year.
Okay, so
is it 1 extra year?
No,
yeah,
it's 2.
Extra, yeah. No,
well,
1 extra year
wasn't his first year.
No, last year was his second year.
Yeah. So you're telling me he was 22 when he came into the league? These are young men.
These are really young men. I mean, you're talking about super young men. That's why I like that Keely Ringo. We talked about him.
There's kids coming in this year into the NFL that because of the COVID.
Yeah, I think 25. Cooper DeJean. Isn't Cooper DeJean already like 23?
The guys you drafted, get this. I think the Quinyon Mitchell.
No, Cooper DeJean's 21. Quinyon Mitchell's the one that's older.
Quinyon Mitchell might be 23.
He's 22 in July. But okay. So yeah, next month he'll be 23.
He's going to be 23 years old, and you're 2 defensive tackles, and one of them, Jordan Davis, has been in the league 2 years, and he's as old as the guy you drafted this year.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize how super fucking young they are in the middle in there.
Yeah, now on one hand, they should have an unlimited gas tank, but on the other hand, it is foolish to expect them to be at their peak, physical condition of what they're going to be, especially Jalen Carter, who came in, last year. But by the way, I think I'm high on both the players. I think both of them are going to be good. And I honestly am surprised that you're as hard on Jordan Davis as you are.
Well, because again, I'm actually harder on the fans' expectations than I am on him.
Right. That's kind of what where John's at too. John loves the player, but I just mean from a defensive tackle perspective, you obviously
he's not a DT.
I know he's not. So, but my point is, you played on that defensive line.
Yeah.
You know what the difference is in those positions. You know what it means to have a guy like that.
Yeah.
I know maybe it's not so modern NFL, but it is Eagles defense. And
Xander,
I think the player can be great. I really do.
Xander, if he gives you 25 tackles a year and 4 sacks, that's Vince Wilfork.
Exactly.
Are you okay with that? If you're,
you could argue they went a little high for it, but you could argue they drafted a little high for it, but I'm okay with it.
He did. He's more in the 20s, like I said he should have been 23, around there. 13's too high. And if everyone remembers, I said, I think this guy, his floor is going to be, if he ends up being like Vince
I
Wilfork,
remember you said that. I remember.
And I go, here's the high and here's the low. You're hoping he's Fletcher. But you know that I think the floor could be Vince. 25 tackles, 4 sacks. Vince won 3 Super Bowls. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
Plus, he was dynamic in the run game.
How old is
That's
Linval
my
Joseph?
problem is everyone is expecting him because they saw his 40-yard at 4.78, as big as he was, and they saw him run down Allen, which was insane great.
Yeah, insane.
And you see that skill set he has. He's just not going to play like that, dude. Those are going to be spotty.
When you see that guy and you see the size, the speed, the athleticism, and then also you know how good that potential can be. And maybe that's why you're hard on him.
It is.
Because you're a guy with, and I mean this with 100% respect. You know this, Sills. You didn't play up to your talent. You should have been a 10-year NFL guy with how good of a player you were. So I think sometimes when you see guys that you don't think are living up to what they should be,
100,
it almost hits home for you where you're like, son,
don't waste it.
Make the mistakes I made,
That's right.
Yeah. So
that's where I come from that. That's where I'm coming from, is that you're watching a kid like that and you're going, don't fucking blow it because you can't put down a White Castle burger. That makes no sense for me.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. By the way, I got this text or this behind the scenes here from Hassan.
From Reddick,
and I'm going to read it one more time to you. ACL, stop believing the full shit that you're seeing on social media and all these apps, the news outlets. Everybody's running crazy with these narratives and all this bullshit, and people, and I hope you're not eating it all up. So it's obviously getting to him and his team on what's going on up there in New York right now. So just, again, this is going to play out a story here until something happens with the Jets. Maybe the Jets move off him. But how are you looking at this thing as it's playing out day to day? By the way, here's the number 2. Hassan Reddick and Aaron Rodgers, which I'm not concerned about. Rodgers will be fine.
Yeah, but what a show for Rodgers. And I'm actually a Rodgers guy.
Makes no sense.
I'm a Rodgers guy, so I'm not even one of these people.
16,983
Joe Rogan interviews. I don't care about what he does in the darkness. I could give a shit. He's a great quarterback, but man, there is just no ability to get rid of that selfish man. You're the quarterback of an NFL team. This isn't your whole life forever. This is an 18-year window that you're at the end of where you can be a leader, be the bigger person, be the bigger man, put the team before yourself. You could go and win a Super Bowl. And he just doesn't want to do it. And look, that teach his own. I guess that's his prerogative, but I'm going to criticize it all day because the guy is so talented. He should be winning Super Bowls, and he's not. And
$16,953 a day that players miss because it's a mandatory minicamp.
Yeah,
so
they're going to miss $100,000. They're going to find 100 G's probably.
And so they're going to be for these mandatory minicamps. What's your take now with Howie in this deal here? You think he just wanted them out of the building because they didn't want the headache?
I think so. I mean, John says it's clear. It's straight it's straight money. They didn't want to give him the money because he's asking for $25 million. I mean, if you look around at the top paid edge rushers, they're getting paid big money. I mean, Nick Bosa's at $34 million, dude.
He's the second highest paid non-quarterback position player next to
Jefferson. Now, if Hassan Reddick believes he's in the same ballpark as Nick Bosa, then he's sadly mistaken. And he should get a new agent because they lied to him. What's your top number? Let's just say you're the GM of the Eagles right now. What would have been your top number for Reddick?
20.
I would say mine's 21. So I'm right there with you. He wants 25, and the other problems. I more lean that I think Vic Fangio. I don't think Vic Fangio made the decision. I think Howie made the decision. I think Howie's ego is too big to let Vic Fangio make the decision.
I don't think Vic wanted. I don't think Howie wanted Vic to have a tough player to coach.
Well, I think Howie went to Vic and said, "Look, I'm in this pickle here.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to pay this guy because he wants too much money. I'd rather do some other things with the money. I know he deserved it, but it's a business. That doesn't mean you're going to get it just because you deserve it.
I know.
And I think Vic said, look, I can live without him. And I think that probably is ultimately what led to it, because Vic is not all the old school stuff you hear about everybody talking about him, his press conference. He's not a guy that strikes me that wants a player that's going to be like, well, I want to drop in coverage.
Remember what I told you when the first player that the Eagles signed was Huff? I said the writing's on the wall. He's out.
Yeah, that was obvious.
I said he's out. Okay, he's out. So I
will say, it was still bullshit the way Howie Roseman answered that question at the press conference.
Well, but again, the decision that he did, I get it, but the way he handles it and the way the Eagles handle
when you put up that defensive
image like that,
and you get mad at a guy who's doing his job, asking you a question about you getting rid of the number one defensive player you've had in your club.
It's about control.
But that also makes me question, like, maybe this really was a bad deal. That's why you got so damn defensive about it. Versus if he was like, it's the NFL, we moved on. I wish Hassan best, all good. Okay, great. Move on. I think it had more to
do with Howie not wanting to explain himself.
Yeah, but dude, you're the GM of a football team.
I get
Go into the private sector if you don't want to answer questions. So
see this kid here? Look at this.
That pissed me off though. It really did. And I told John that, and he's like, yeah, he puts on the spiel for Howie Roseman. I'm like, come on, McMullen. That's BS. It really was.
And that's what makes that show great. Those guys go back and forth, and we all do here. Xander now, Jesus, pushing McMullen and Sileo around. Holy shit, this guy here, man. What am I doing here? What have you guys all created here? By the way, how about them kicking ass today on the likes?
Oh my God, the fans are the best. They're going nuts in the chat. I had to mute some people out. I hate muting people. I really do.
Yeah,
but when someone writes 888 comments and the only thing you can read when you look at the chat is dumb spam, I can't keep it because now Sills can't use the chat.
Yeah.
So I boot some people out of here because they're just driving me nuts. But
hey, congratulations. Where are we at right now in that like button, man? That's pretty awesome. We're rolling into the final hour. We've already got the number. I'd like to get to 300 on where we are.
239.
Holy cow, 61 away. Way to go, guys. You guys absolutely killed it today, man. I mean, hey, let me put it to you this way, dudes. Remember how everybody...
That's right, Wayne. This is Xanderland here, baby.
Xanderland. I love that, man. Hey, what I tell you, there's no downtime on JAKIB. There's downtime everywhere else. You don't have downtime here. There's no such thing. Great stuff.
47 Sills. We're running. The people are showing us some love today. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, man.
When I was younger, my uncle used to say, "Welcome to the Xander Zone." So I think Xander Zone is better than Xander Land, but I'll take him.
Xander Zone. I love it.
Now I sound like Big Sills. I'm talking about myself in the third person. What is happening? What is happening over here?
No, wait a minute. I got it. Ready, guys? Big Z.
Big Z.
Xander, thanks, brother.
Thank you, Sills. Appreciate it, man. See you guys.
You got it. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Valle Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
What a great day! Big Sills! Final hour. Let's try to get to 300, man. Appreciate it. Oh my God. Not to name any names, but a man was fired in broadcasting today in Philly that yeah. Oh, couldn't have been a better guy. I'm not going to say any names, but, you ran another sports thing into the ground. Ran QAM into the ground. Now you're running that thing in the ground. Big Bill! Oh man, I can't. What a day. What a day. What a day. Thank God, How you doing? All right. Yes, sir. Hey, you know how you guys always ask us about, who like leaves, who's not here? You need to go talk to one of those radio stations in Philly now. What happened? What happened? Oh, man. What happened? Oh. And I'm not a guy that roots for people to lose their gigs. Cowboys should have traded Dak in the offseason so we could get something for him. Now we get a third-round compensation pick. Dak won't be back in 25. Yeah, I'm not thinking that too. Hey, Dan, weather in Miami right now is crazy, bro. I heard the weather in Tampa, too, is killing it. Dude, hey, DRC, let me give you a little bit of insight when I first got down to Real quick, we'll reset here. And we'll dude, when I got down there, how about this, DRC? They flew me down in when's recruiting? February? Good night. We're out there at Monty's Stone Crab House. Everything's great. The weather's great. We go over to the Causeway, place back in the day called Strawberries. Fantastic. Just great. I get down there in August. I got workman boots on, jeans, and I got a flannel shirt. And man, I got down there and I walked off the plane. I couldn't believe how freaking hot it was. Monty trainers. Oh, one of the greatest places on the planet, Yale, is Monty Trainers. Loved Monty. Go down there, man. Oh, I remember calling my grandpa. Hey, DRC. I called my grandpa up and I said this to him. Hey, man, I can't make this. We're doing wind sprints and shit. I go, I can't make it. It's too hot. It's just too hot. It took me about 3 months to get used to the heat. And when I did, and I saw them fat bodies come down and play Miami, 1 o'clock games. We always scheduled Notre Dame 1 o'clock games. We beat the doorknobs off them. Hey, man, these guys that had these big old red faces like red apples. You're like, pretty hot, ain't it, Hoss? Here's your from Connecticut. How'd you do it? I go, it took me 100,000 days to get used to that. The humidity is no joke. It's no joke. And we would schedule those 1 o'clock games, Notre Dame, Florida State. It didn't matter the FSU or Florida games because those guys were from the same area we were from. But, man, wow. Still, Xander needs a raise. Taking all those front office Eagles calling saying that Sills couldn't be putting the Eagles down. JAKIB Sports. Hey, man, they have taken the arrows for me. 99.9% of the people that I've worked for didn't want to do it. They came up with lies to get me fired. Guys, honestly, DFW, let me ask you this. Just to show you how the media works. Do you think, if you Google me, do you really think I was fired in Tampa for the 3 monkey comments? I wasn't. Clear Channel had put out a apology that they had a day after. Hey, we're really sorry. Dan didn't mean it. It was just a slip of the tongue. Jonathan Vilma even called us. It was in the press release. Dan's a close friend of mine. Jonathan Vilma went to UM. I helped recruit him. Had nothing to do with that. You know what happened now? The Bucks called and said he goes or we go. The Bucks used that to get me fired off of WDAE, where I had 9 shares in the morning. 25.54, I was doing 9 to 12, 13 shares. Only Bubba the Love Sponge beat me. And now that we know, Bubba was buying Arbitron books. I mean, right? Trade for Via Veda. Wow. Bucks ain't getting rid of him. I think he's a tad bit sometimes over or underachieved at times. Okay? I think a little bit. Flexing, thank you, guys. We're almost at 300, man. That's pretty dope. All right. Wayne, you remember Bubba the Love Sponge? Yeah, Bubba was a legendary guy. Now Cowhead's down there. Get this, Cowhead could never get a job at DAE because every guy on the network was doing 10-plus shares or 6 shares or whatever it was. We had the highest rated radio show in the South. Obviously, WIP and WFAN. We were the top, and WEEI, the other station wasn't up yet. It was EEI, it was FAN, it was IP, and it was us as the highest rated East Coast sports stations in America. And at times, we had the highest rated morning show, including Angelo, because we were doing 14 shares, 15 shares at times. So it was crazy. Sills needs a raise. Hey, 261. Let's go, guys. Appreciate it. When was this, Sills? This was 2012. I'll tell you exactly what happened, Millie. Just so you know, QAM. Yeah, it was just a slip of the tongue, man, because I called I still to this day call my little daughter, man, my little monkey. It wasn't anything other than that. And I've apologized 100 billion times, but people don't care. They don't care about apologies. I do. I call my little daughter my little monkey. Love her. Or I did when she was younger. I don't do it anymore because she doesn't like it. So I don't do it any longer. What year? 95? No. It was 2012, I think that happened. But then get this, Yale. I said that on the air in 2012. 39 days later, I was hired in Miami as the afternoon talk show host to take over for Sid Rosenberg. So if anybody had a problem with it, Beasley didn't have a problem with it. I was hired 39 days later. I was on the air. Couldn't have been that much of a racist. Miami hired me. You gave me a raise. Oh. Yeah, Neil Rodgers, one of the guys I took over for. I don't know if he died of AIDS. Yeah, he used to go on and do a crazy ass show, and it was highly rated, and he would talk crazy ways. I do believe he was bisexual or what have you, and he would talk openly on his show, and it was nuts. Then they wanted me to go in there and take that over, and I went, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Neil Rodgers. Sid was crazy then. Now Sid's killing it now in WABC in New York. He got out of sports and got into politics, and it was with Sid and Bernie, and I took over for Rosenberg. I took over actually for two people, Hacksaw Hamilton at the Mighty 1090/690, which is one of the greatest and all-time stations of all time, and I took over for Sid Rosenberg in Miami down at QAM. So two guys that really had a great following. I had to go in there after them, and we did really well with them. I called my son Little Monkey or Little Bear. I love that, man. It's awesome. Yeah, but they thought it was a way for them to get rid of me, senor, because I was doing what I'm doing here. I would do the same thing, senor. The Bucs were 21-54 under Mark Dominic. Just so you know, I haven't really changed my approach. They were 21-54 with Mark Dominic after they fired John Gruden and Bruce Allen, who were close friends of mine. And Bruce more so than John. I wasn't really close friends with John. I don't think ever. But Bruce, I was. I've known Bruce since I was 17 years old. I've known Bruce Allen a long time. And I hadn't asked the way they fired them. They were 21-54, 55, some shit like that. And I started calling the Bucs front office, and I was saying this about them. Hey, man, they're a bunch of librarians. I mean, these guys are not football people. They don't know what they're doing. And one day, Mark Dominic took me. He's been on, he goes on the Colin Cowherd show. So one day, he took me to, the Capitol Grill in Tampa for lunch. I was like, I'll go. He gave me his player book and the assessment and the evaluations, Cadillac Williams and some of these other guys they had. I looked at that roster, and I went like this to him. I think you guys will love this. I looked down that list, and I go like this. You got a bunch of lollipops on this team. They drafted a kid in the second round from UCLA that never played. I called him Jelly Donut. The guy ripped his hamstring off the bone or something. He never played for them. I forget the guy's name, Yale, but he was a defensive tackle that the Bucs drafted, and I was calling him Jelly. And they got so upset with me. They stopped putting the coaches on and the players on, and I didn't care because I didn't need them. So they started calling and complaining about me to my bosses. Shit, the Rays used to call. Vince Namoli used to call it because I was calling the Tropicana Dome. I was calling it the Fruit Dome. They hated it because I wasn't calling it the Tropicana Dome. I was going like this. Yeah, the Tampa Bay little Stingrays. I was just killing them because they stunk. And Namoli was terrible. And so we were the flagship, though. And I was getting killed. Hey. I called that kid. I forget the kid's name. That poor kid, man. He played for he ended up having some sort of meltdown or something. I felt bad for the guy. I forget the kid's name, but he was a defensive tackle. They took him in the second round. I'm like, this guy's name should be Jelly. Big old fat guy. I was like, this guy will never play. He's not Warren Sapp. Oh, just Eagle fans appreciate what you have with Big Sills. He gives you the honest truth no matter how the team is performing. Hey, here and DFW. Let me go here with both Cowboys and with Eagles. Here's my problem, and here's my love that I have for the Cowboy stuff. And I'll give you my history here. Brad Culpepper, one of my closest friends, and one of my attorneys to this day. I love Brad Culpepper. Now, here, I got to Dallas not because of Jimmy. I got to Dallas because my uncle called Tom Landry, okay, and Gil Brandt. And they were going to change off the flex defense. DFW, they were going to change the flex. Landry's last year, the next year going in, they were going to change the flex and go to a 34. Tom felt comfortable going to a 3-4. So they wanted to get nose guards. That's why they drafted Danny Noonan. Well, it was planned. I was going to sign with San Francisco, Seattle. I forget, maybe Green Bay, maybe the Dolphins. After the Bucs had released me, I had options. So the Cowboys, Tom Landry calls me. Actually, it was Gil Brandt. He called me. They gave me $55,000 in 1989 to sign. It was like $55,000. It was November. It wasn't prorated. They gave me $55,000 to sign. And I couldn't, they brought me in November. So the last 4 games of Tom Landry's career in Dallas, I was on the inactive, but I was a Cowboy. So I started living in Dallas in November, I think in 88. I started living. I lived in Valley Ranch. And so we were getting ready to go 34. Well, Jimmy leaves in February, calls me up and goes, meet me down at this Mexican restaurant. Sure enough, I meet him at the Mexican restaurant. There's Jerry Jones. And I'm there, and get this, I'm there with Rick Gosselin, who you guys see on our show a lot. Rick Gosselin goes like this. Okay? Hey, DFW. Gosselin goes, what are you doing here? I go, Jimmy called me. He goes, Jimmy called me too. I'm like, what's going on? He goes, I think they're firing Tom Landry tomorrow. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. No way they're firing Tom Landry. He goes, well, Jimmy's here with Jerry. I go over, I go, Coach, what do you, yeah, well, I'll see you tomorrow. Can't tell you anymore. He goes, I'll see you tomorrow. See me tomorrow? Where am I going to be? I walk in that day, and I've told some of you the story. Okay? I walk in the next day. We're getting ready for workouts with Bob Ward, our strength and conditioning coach. We all got together. We were working out. Nate Newton, myself, Crawford Kerr. We're all working out, getting ready for the upcoming mini camp. We hear the bells ring. Tom Landry used to have bells for lunch. We'd all stop what we're doing. You could bring your family in. He was really cool with that. You could have your girlfriend, your family member, and you were invited there to go there at Valley Ranch and eat lunch. State of the art. I've never seen anything like it. Cowboys facilities, second to none. All of a sudden, PR director walks in. Hey, Coach Landry wants everyone in the team meeting room. We had this big tiered meeting room. It says Dallas Cowboys on the back. You guys see it on TV all the time. It's like, what the fuck is going on? We walk into that room. Hey, DFW, my wife hates Jerry Jones and doesn't really like Jimmy Johnson because she's a Landry guy. So we're sitting here. I got Crawford Kerr, Too Tall Jones, Randy White, Tom Rafferty, Eugene Lockhart, bunch of the old school, Herschel Walker's in the building. And we're sitting here. We're like, what's up? Landry walks in. He's in tears. I'd never seen Coach like this. No one, you can hear people under their breath going, oh my God. Oh my God. I said this to this day, and I said this that day, and I'll say it now. You'll remember where you are right now for the rest of your life. Landry walks up to the podium and goes, it's been a great 29 years. They fired me. We were all like this. For about 5 minutes, no one said nothing. Coach started bawling. Never seen him like this. And we were like, it was very emotional. He walked out of the room. Later that day, we were called back. They introduced Jimmy Johnson as the new head coach, Jerry as the new owner. They handled that thing so shitty because they did it in the same day. They fired him, and then they introduced him, and everyone in Dallas's ass went into a bind. Everyone came up to me. What's this like? What's he like? What's he like? I'm like, well, you ain't going to like him. All the old guys, you're out. And they kept going like this. What do you mean all the old guys? I said, all them Coach Landry guys, you're gone. The next day, after minicamp, we had a minicamp the next day. When Jimmy got the job, Randy White retired. Danny White retired. Ed stayed. Rafferty stayed. Everson Wall stayed. But there were a lot of guys that quit and retired because Jimmy told them, you're not going to make the team. He told Randy White he wasn't going to make the team. Randy quit. And that's it. I was like, that was one of the craziest times, DFW, was when Coach Landry got fired. And it wasn't Jimmy that brought me to Dallas. It was Tom Landry that brought me to Dallas. He did. They renamed I-30 Tom Landry. Oh, really? Okay. Over there on the other side of where the ball is, over on the other side of Stemmons? I didn't know that. So DFW on the other side of Stemmons, right? Is that right? I-30's over there? Because I know 35 takes you south, or 45 takes you south. 30 might take you over to Arlington. I don't remember that. My wife's from Dallas. That's where I met her. Yeah. That's my history. Oh, and I know that I've showed these other guys. I've showed these other guys this. Hey, DFW, I don't think I showed you this, though. There's your Jimmy Johnson very first training camp. Signed by Jimmy. Right there. Big Sills showing up to Cal Lutheran out in California where we used to hold camp. June 27th. JJ and Jerry Jones's very first training camp. Pretty cool, huh? So that's my history with the Cowboys. And, of course, Landry played for or played with my uncle in New York with the Giants. It should be framed. Yeah, dude. I got a ton of shit. It should be framed. I know, man. I know, because you know what? And you're right, because that was the Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson's very first training camp. And then 3 years later, off that training camp, those guys would win 3 Super Bowls or 2 Super Bowls with Jimmy. Jerry would win the other with Barry, who was on the program here. Had you met your wife before Landry was fired? Yes, she was my girlfriend then. She used to work out with me we were allowed to take, I took her there. She used to go out and work out with me with Bob Ward, the strength and conditioning coach. And I met my wife. She was my girlfriend then. And yeah, I met her. And that's why it's a funny deal. She dated Brian Baldinger. She dated Brian Baldinger. So I knew Brian longer than her, and she knew Brian longer than me. How do you think, besides the fact that Brian played in Dallas and then got traded to Philly? I think he got traded to Philly. Yeah. She's like this. She goes, yeah, that's why. And I'll tell you guys, it's a funny thing. Every time I text Brian Baldinger to come on the program, hey, Taylor, he goes like this. How's my girl doing? Hey. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, hey, you see your daughter there? Are you sure, Sills? Are you sure, Sills? And I'm like, shut up. Oh, man. Are you sure? Oh, man. Rand's bro. Yeah. Funny, huh? Yeah, Baldy dated her, man. Dee looks exactly like Big Sil. Sorry, Baldy. Oh, man. Every time I get him, every time I text him, it's funny because my wife, I'll come up and I'll go like this. Hey, I had Baldinger on. She's like, oh. Yeah, he goes like this. She goes, how's my girl doing? She starts chuckling. She's like, who would have thought? 2 of the biggest assholes I know. I'm like, Baldinger's not an asshole. She's like, I know. Both of your most sensitive guys that I know. Oh, 100 million years ago, though. 100 million years ago. Oh, she must. Enough. Let's reset here. Dee my daughter. Hey, Millie, my daughter goes like this. Hey, Dad, do you think I would have been a better athlete if Baldinger was my dad? I said no, because offensive linemen aren't very good athletes. I was like, no, because, you're going to be slow and you're not going to you're going to be smarter for sure. Okay, but you're going to be a better athlete because of me. Yeah, okay, Dad. All right. Let's get back into resetting here. I do want to go back and talk a little bit about, by the way, where are we in the like list? Sorry, I deviate and I could just sit here and talk. I apologize. I'm telling you some boring big Sil stories here, but where are we here? We are 269. We are 31 away, potentially from hitting 300. Let's go, guys. You ever arm wrestle? Easy, guy. Easy, Bruce. Easy. A ball slinger. Shut up, maniac. Guys are ridiculous. I can't even tell you a decent story without it going into, obviously, Big Sil's holy hell here. All right, let's do this. I did like one of the things. Ken, thank you, brother. I did like one of the things that the resident Dallas Cowboy honk, Mark Holmes, did say. And this is going to come down to, once again, this relationship with Jalen and with Kellen Moore. Why are you so convinced that Kellen is going to turn? Wait a minute. Does Jalen need to be turned around? What's the number 1, 2, 3 things that Kellen Moore has to improve on Jalen Hurts? What's the 3 things? What's the 3 biggest jobs that Kellen has to improve with Jalen Hurts. Checkdowns? Turnovers? Now, Ray, I'm gonna put your name down here, Ray, because you put turnovers there. Turnovers and quick throws, Richard. They are practicing that, actually. Get the ball out faster, CZ. Guys are pretty good there. Pre-snap reads? Absolutely. Pre-snap. That'll help this. Read defenses, quick release. Like it. You guys are good. Progression. Put that down here. Okay. Turnovers. Ray, how do you fumble drill? Dumbest thing going. Hey, not your take, but that fumble drill was ridiculous. Ray, how do you turn around turnovers? What would be the easiest fix? You are right. More is going to make Hurts worse. Senor, I didn't say that. Accuracy, pre-snap reads, quick throws. Okay. What's the number one thing that you think you can do? Better play calling? That's a bigger picture to what I'm going to go and where I'm going to go to. Run the ball? That would help a ton. Okay. Guys, the fastest way for Kellen Moore to get Jalen Hurts not to turn the ball over is what? Don't have high percentage turnover plays. Last year, throwing the ball deep or across the numbers, you put him in a position where you had higher turnover possibilities. Tip balls, holding on to the ball too long. His pocket presence increased the blitzing. All of that then became predictable. All of that. It all played in and it came crashing down. What they need to do is do higher quality plays. The 22 Jalen Hurts did not throw a ton of high probable turnover plays. As a matter of fact, his passing game in 22 was superior to 23, and he had more passing yards, more touchdowns, more attempts, more completions. But he was worse because of the turnovers and them wanting him to throw deeper passes. They wanted, what was the comment? Hey, remember Yale? What was the comment they kept making? We like big plays. Tom Brady didn't ever want big plays. He made a career out of checkdowns. Punting and checkdowns won Tom Brady 7 Super Bowls. I cannot believe that is that hard for the Eagle organization to comprehend that. They want a quarterback that throws for 4,700 yards. You know, guys, I break your balls about $4,000 and 30 touchdowns. I don't care. Honestly, kidding aside, I want 5 turnovers, 6 turnovers, most 9 with 25 touchdowns. You go to a Super Bowl doing that. Give the kid an ability. Hey, if punting is okay, learning to live another series is okay. Punt it. Play field position. Help your defense out. Help your quarterback out. The number one way you're going to turn those turnovers around is having him throw less high percentage plays that create turnovers. This is the one thing that Brock Purdy does exceptional. He doesn't have high probable turnover plays. Throw it to McCaffrey. Wide open. Throw it to Kittle. Get it to Debo in a jet sweep. How many times have you watched Brock Purdy throw a 5-yard pass and it goes 55? Hey, remember that play that the Niners had with Kittle? And remember what they did? I know some of you do. You remember that play that Kittle had in that Niner game? And they had Reddick covering Kittle. They threw a 3-yard screen pass or something, 3-yard hitch pass to Kittle. He went up the field for 38 yards. You're like, that is brilliant. They were going with matchups. They were throwing high percentage plays. There were no high turnover plays. It was all done so well in situational play calling. I mean, Brock Purdy really plays that game from the line of scrimmage to 10 yards out. They don't really play deep ball football. If you think about it, a lot of the great teams, hey, do you think the Kansas City Chiefs play deep throw football? They don't have a receiver on that fucking football team that's worth the shit. They don't play deep throw football. They play crossing routes with Travis Kelce. I mean, that to me is what Kellen Moore has to work on. One of the things he has to work on. Okay. Blitzes. How can he be better at blitz pickup? I'll tell you a secret, Jonathan Vilma. Speaking of Vilma, I'll tell you exactly how Vilma told me. And this is a pre-snap trick that Vilma taught me that Peyton Manning has. 276 likes. Not bad, guys. We're getting there. Almost at 300. Motional help. Okay? Motional help. How can Jalen do a better job? Because teams are going to blitz him early. Packers are going to run right at him. You know, Joe Barry being the DC up there in Green Bay, I don't know, man. I mean, I think he's a good linebacker coach, but Joe Barry being the defensive coordinator in Green Bay, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, how can he be better at that? Okay, what can he do? Well, one of the things that he did in 22 that was exceptional, that RPO, and I've told you this. How many times did he freeze Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw in the NFC title game? Those guys looked like they had their feet in cement. They were behind the sticks. They were behind the play. They looked like they were slow as hell. This past year at the Link, they were like rockets running to the ball because there was no element of RPO in there. And when you didn't have the element of RPO, guess what? You are playing against a fast football team like San Francisco. Their linebacking core is as good as any linebacking core in the NFL. And that's a tough putt when you don't slow them guys down. I thought their linebacking core was one of the essential differences in that game at Lincoln Financial compared to what happened in that NFC title game. They were running all over the field. So how do you stop that blitzing? I think it's simple. It's a pre-snap trick that Peyton Manning used to do all the time. I want you guys to follow me here on this because it is. Jonathan Vilma said there's a play clock. You got to be really experienced as a linebacker to do this. The Eagles don't have this. But you have to be really experienced to understand this. Vilma would walk to the line of scrimmage. And you know what they did? They did that walk-up defense. They didn't want to go to their respected positions because it gave Peyton Manning more intel on pre-snap read. And they didn't want to show him the strong or free safety. And they got that from Baltimore. Baltimore was notorious for doing that. Rex Ryan was really a guy who kind of developed all that. Then they would, as the play clock got down to 15 seconds, they'd start walking out. And then Manning would see where the free safety was. But here's Vilma. Vilma would sit there, and he wouldn't call the strength of the defense. He would not call it. They'd all wait in the middle. Manning's giving you that Omaha, 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 trying to give you audibles. 5 seconds would come. He's got to set the old line. Set, got to get down. As soon as he said set, Vilma would set the defense and the strength. They'd go to their positions. Manning had 5 seconds to process the information, drop back, and know where the blitz was coming from. And Vilma would beat him on that. That's how he won the Super Bowl against them. They would beat him on that. Because what Manning would do is take the inexperienced linebacker. That guy walks up to the line of scrimmage with 15 seconds on the clock, and he would set the defense. You're playing right into Peyton Manning's hands. He knows where the blitz is coming from just by alignment. These quarterbacks are so gifted now with their offensive play callers that they look for these pre-snap indicators and they look for these pre-snap keys that tell them where they're coming from. You got an experienced backer like Ray, Vilma, John Beeson, Fred Warner, these guys wait till the last second before you set. He's got to get the guy down in the stance. Once you do that, you go to your defense. That quarterback, Jalen couldn't pick that up. He's got to get better at that. They were waiting to set the strength on Jalen. He didn't know where the blitz was coming from. Kelsey was trying to help him. I think it's going to come A-gap here. You got to get us down in the stance quicker. Okay? Get us down in that. Because it helped Kelsey out. Because he knew Jalen couldn't read where the blitzes were coming from. That's why Kelsey wanted him to set the line strength and get him down so he could see potentially where they were coming from so he can help them. Remember he said about 3 weeks ago, hey, he didn't know where they were coming from. I didn't know where they were coming from. That's another area. These are all, and then get this, you're installing a new passing game with new exotic routes. And you've got to know what I just told you within 5 seconds. With these complex defenses, here's what defensive people and coordinators are going to do to the Eagles this year. They're going to know this, okay? The element of that guy running in the last 3 months of the season was not there. Xander seems to think they're going to put that back in some form. Or they're going to hand the ball off more to Barkley. I think it's going to be the latter. Hand the ball off more to Barkley. Okay? Because if you take that element of him running out, the only person I have to defend is Barkley in the run game. Great. If I have to defend Barkley and Hurts in the run game, that's more complex. That means I have to keep my backers out closer to the line of scrimmage. But on third down, I'm going to cheat now. He's not going to run. All I'm going to worry about is Barkley. And if Barkley's out in the slot or he's out wide, they're going to put him in the passing game, and he's going to be a check down guy, which means I'll have my OLB out there. Okay? Got what we could from Hurts. Now the league is on to him. Sills knows the league. He knows the NFL. We got Barkley so we can go balls out. I believe you're correct, Brian. Brian, I believe you're correct. I think that's what – plus, Brian, the one other thing that Barkley is exceptional at is blitz pickup. He's a great blocking running back who doesn't mind sticking his face in there, and he doesn't mind going in out there and being that kind of guy where he'll blow up a linebacker coming in. He's very good at it, and he's really good at seeing strength. If you watch him, I've watched a couple of YouTubes on him on third and long. If he's not involved in the pass route, he's really good in the pocket helping the quarterback out. Daniel Jones is just a fish out of water. He's just not good. I mean, I got to tell you, it would not shock me if Daniel Jones, who's still recovering from his injury a year ago, it would not shock me if Daniel Jones ends up getting beat out by the middle part of the season. And then the New York Giants would have had completely a $100 and what it was, $50 million disaster when they gave him that money of $40 million a year. It's ridiculous. They didn't pick up the option, which they lose the $18 million on. Then they give him a 3-year contract extension, which they have buyer's remorse on. And then they let Barkley walk out. And they traded for Waller, who just retired. You can't have any more of a shit show than in New York. A once great run organization, you just can't fuck that thing up any worse. Oh, man, a DFW. Barkley could have an impact of what Zeke Elliott looked like 3.5 years ago. Something like that. Zeke 3.5 years ago was a good football player. Zeke now is limited. Okay? All right, Xander, where are we in our likes list? Let's see where we are here. In the likes list. We are at 281. Guys, we got 19 to go. Let's take a time out here. Maybe we get to 300. Guys, hey, you blew it apart here with going past 200. And I appreciate that. By the way, you guys now, look at this. They're now quoting Xander Krause now. Are the Eagles happy with Dan Sileo? Are the Eagles happy with themselves? Let's find out this year, right? Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Valle Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Love it. Michael, since you are the MTG of sports broadcasting, I'm going to give you a like. Thank you very much, Michael. Appreciate it. December 29th game, Cowboys at Eagles will decide the NFC East title. Yeah, the Week 10 game is in Arlington. Yes. 288. 12 away from 300. I love it. Here's some of the camp dates. Look at how close we are here. Cleveland shows up on the 20th of July. Holy cow, the 20th of July? It's like 35 days from now, isn't it? And it's something like that? How many days is that out? July 20th. This is veterans, not rookies, so I'm going that route. How many days is that? How many days is it to July 20th? It's 38 days away. 38 days to the start of training camp for the Browns. Kansas City has 39 days away. Same with Detroit, 39 days. The New York Jets have 35 days away from the start of training camp. Arizona, 25. Most of these teams are July 25th. Eagles are July 25th. Dallas is July 25th. Washington is July 25th. Indianapolis, Pittsburgh's the 26th. So we're very close. Very close. Who remembers any of the Cowboy coaches or players deep in the playoffs the last 30 years? It'd be a hard pick to figure which coaches have gone deep because they haven't. November 10th, Eagles at Cowboys, can't wait. That's going to be a good one. So just imagine if Kelsey didn't retire. I would put that line. If you put Kelsey in that offensive line and move Cam Jurgens back to right guard, it'd be the best unit in pro football. Could be the best unit in Eagle history. Okay, because again, that left side is I mean, and plus with Lane over on the right, the two tackles, Mulata, and these are the best tackles you've ever had as a duo, my opinion. My opinion. 4 away, guys. Thank you, Dylan. I appreciate that. 4 away from 300. Man, did you guys come locked and loaded today? I'm more interested in seeing Washington versus the Eagles. That's going to be a crazy-ass game. I think Washington, by the way, I wrote this down. I think the Washington Commanders have the best linebackers in pro football, and that includes the San Francisco 49ers. Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louvu, Jamin Davis, Michael Walker, and Jordan McGee. I think they have the best linebacking core in pro football. Washington has a really good group. Every one of those guys are good ball players. So Washington's got the linebackers. Washington has the front also. That's going to be a formidable team. The question marks are going to be on their back end and defense. But I would tell you, man, Washington's got the best. And look, you've got Dotson and the other guy on the other side, McLaurin, the other wide receiver. This is going to come down to quarterback play with Jalen Daniels and also how they play in the secondary. They're good, man. You think Mulata is better than Peters? No, but I'm talking about the tandems that you have. No, I do not think that Mulata is better than Peters. No, not yet. No, I don't think that. Taylor goes, Bobby Wagner at 34 years old. Wagner was second-team All-Pro last year. I mean, could he have a fall-off? Jay goes, Washington ain't shit. Well, only reason you beat them last year was shitty coaching decisions by the coach. That was a pretty good football team. That quarterback threw for almost 800 yards against you. Okay? I mean, I think Washington's got some talent. So what if it was Kelsey with Becton next to him? Whew, good night. That'd be crazy great. Guys, absolutely fabulous day. I loved our little battle royale, too, we had at 3:30. Xander's killing it too, each and every single day, usually at 3:30. Don't forget to catch him on Birds 365 each and every single morning. And also, too, Farzetta, who kicks off our broadcast every day. Guys, you've been wonderful, and I can't thank you enough. Thank you again for all you guys are doing. The show that the Eagles watch. That should be the new headline of the show instead of the National Football Show. It's the show the NFL and the Eagles watch, because it surely is. I appreciate it. Joe, Xander, thank you. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we'll see you on the flip side.